Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Tharries podcast, episode 21. And this time, I am joined by Verdana. Is that the correct way of saying it?
You can say it however, whatever tickles your fancy. Honestly, on that.
Okay. Well, obviously, welcome to the show. First of all,
thank you.
What we like to do initially is just get a bit about the person's channel. So if you want to do that, I've forgotten how to do a podcast. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not quite as big as Quentin Reviews. I'll say that. I made some Doctor Who video essays. I don't know if you've seen them, but it's a 90-minute overall video where I'm talking about why Doctor Who kind of sucks ass now and how it used to be good.
Yeah.
And those are the only videos I have that actually have a lot of views.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, I think for those of you who haven't seen them, I do highly recommend them. They're some of my favourites. There's so many good Doctor Who video essays, but I think you've got such a unique visual style and presentation style that they're definitely worth the watch. In my
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice when people like the stuff that I make, because on anything else that I make, it's just there's a bunch of comments like, "Can you make Doctor Who Part 3, please?"
Dude, as a Doctor Who YouTube channel, first and foremost, I relate. You want to make something else, and you make something else, and all the comments are just about when's your next Doctor Who video, and I'm like, I'm trying.
Pretty much.
I need to do some creative, fulfilling stuff for myself sometimes, you know.
The only other, on my main channel, the only other video I have that has, a debate, holds a candle in terms of view count is this video I have about the history of music in the 60s. So sometimes I get comments about that. It's 1% of my comments are 60s, 90% of them are Doctor Who Part 3, and the rest are people who actually watch the video.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, before we get into Doctor Who stuff, because obviously that is going to be the bulk of this, I wanted to talk briefly, because one of my favourite videos of yours outside of that is the Boys one. I really enjoyed your Boys video essay.
Oh, damn.
And I'm planning on doing one of my own. Yeah, I'm a big The Boys fan, so I really...
Boys boy, I believe.
A Boys boy.
Yeah.
A Boys... Yeah. No, I really enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed the analysis of that show. I think it's one of those shows you could just come at it from so many different angles. I feel like it's got so many different layers to it. I honestly think it's the only thing. I think the superhero genre has become very homogenized. It's all become very the same. So when you have a show that's yeah, we're gonna have Superman drink, mum milk and do all that, and it's okay, that's something different.
That's the
kind of...
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just gonna say I really enjoyed that one. That's all I was gonna say.
That's the kind of shit that I've wanted to see them do with Superman, this whole actually delve deeper into his character a little bit. I talked about it in the video a bit, but with Zack Snyder, it's his movies sucked ass, but at least it looked like he was gonna try to veer into that a bit before he got fired.
Yeah.
Can I just mention that the most scummy thing, one of the most scummy things I've ever seen a studio do is fire Zack Snyder right after his daughter committed suicide. That was just so fucked up.
That was apparently the reason they did it, was for him to spend time with his family, but apparently that was just a cover-up for...
Yeah, they didn't bring him back after. They could have, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to.
That was basically just a cover-up because they wanted to get rid of him, and that seemed
a
the
good
most...
time. Yeah.
What's the word? The most, I guess, PR-friendly way of doing it was to say, oh, he's got a daughter who's passed away. It's very manipulative and very cold and calculated, which is the exact thing that The Boys mocks.
Yeah.
Is the studio sort of the conglomerate nature and the sort of almost mechanical nature of businesses, and I think it's genuinely fantastic.
Yeah, I should have.
Some could argue it's a bit hypocritical of a company like Amazon to do it, but at the same time, they've not really delved into the film genre yet, so they can sort of get away with it a little bit more.
A little bit,
I would say. If Disney did it, it'd be this is literally you. What are you talking about? You can't say this is bad and then literally do it. But I think Amazon can get away with it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think The Boys does a lot of interesting stuff. It makes a lot of interesting political statements, and it gets into capitalism a lot, but I didn't want to delve too deep into politics in that video, so I sort of
it becomes very difficult with politics on the internet in general, because, fun fact, just before we recorded this, I uploaded a silly edit of Trump regenerating into Biden.
I saw that. You put that on the server.
Yeah. I just put my stuff everywhere because, you know, I'm just...
I'm gonna watch that right now, actually.
Yeah, it's so bad. It was just a little cringy thing I made to sort of, you know, sustain my audience for a little longer. But like the comments on that are just like a minefield. It's just like half people saying, well, you can't make this because it's not being officially confirmed, and then half of them are like, you know, it's
I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that right now.
Jesus,
there's some dude who's like, I always hate when channels that don't talk about politics pull a video like this.
And I'm like, dude, it's just a joke. I just wanted to make a silly joke video, and it just, you know, it seemed the most topical thing to do. Like, no one would watch that video if it was, I don't know, the old Animaniacs regenerating into the new Animaniacs. It's just, I mean, someone might watch that, but it's, you know, it's a good title. You know what I mean? It's.
I like the special effect of the White House TARDIS blowing up.
Yeah, I got someone to do that, someone who's more talented than me.
You commissioned for this. You outsourced on the visual effects.
Well,
like
one visual effect. Most of it was. Most of it, I said the remove background thing. I basically did the regeneration effect itself, and like put the image on the back. But I messaged the guy who helps me with certain effects, being like, "Hey, can you blow up the White House for me?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure. Let me get my uncle."
Did you clarify you meant a visual effect of the White House, or did you just like pull up like, "Can you blow up the White House for me?"
Not in the first sentence. That was the thing. So I was literally just messaging and be like, "Can you blow up the White House?" Probably should have specified for a video. But
well, if you ever needed someone to blow up the White House, wink, wink. I'm your guy. Just hit me up.
Yes. All right, cool. That is noted. I mean, I don't really have a vested interest. Like, as a British guy, it wouldn't really benefit me an awful lot to blow up the White House. I mean, I guess if like I could take a part of it and sell it online, maybe then. But other than that, I don't think that's on the cards. That took a really weird turn. But yeah. No, so obviously talked about the boys one a little bit. I basically wanted to talk about the boys one first because that's, you know, the thing that is not going to be the majority, and that's probably going to get people to click away, but I have to talk about it at some point, so...
Alright, well, I mean, I think the boys is, it hooks you, like, better than 99% of shows that I see.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even some of my other favorite shows, like Better Call Saul, for example, or, like... The Sopranos, like those took a while to hook me. Like once I was hooked, I was in. But like the boys from episode 1, like instantly, it's like it really grabs you. Like you want to know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, definitely, and you don't expect where it goes storyline wise. Spoilers, by the way, for the boys. We probably should say that, disclaim it now.
Are we gonna spoil it too badly, or?
I mean, I wasn't really planning to, but just in case we do end up saying anything by accident, and people are like, "Oh God, I didn't know that was gonna happen. Why didn't you say?" Because you know what YouTube comments are like. There'll always be one being like, "Well, I haven't watched it yet." It's like, sorry.
Yeah, I
tried my best.
I get a lot of comments like that on whenever I do anything ever.
Yeah. So it's best to preface it by saying, yes, we might have some minor spoilers in this. But yeah, with that being said, I think it's one of those shows you never quite know what it's going to do. Like, I did not expect, you know, season 2 to go into, like, Nazis and stuff like that, and I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah, that just kind of, they just kind of pulled that one, they pulled a fast one on us with that. I guess if you read the comics, you'd see it coming, but I haven't read all the comics, so. No,
neither have I. I mean, it's one of those things where it's a more obscure comic book, isn't it? If I
it's a very edgy comic series.
Like, I'd never heard of it prior to the show.
Nor
so I'm assuming it's a bit more niche, I'm assuming.
Probably,
than some, your generic Marvel stuff. But, yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Obviously, I don't get much of an opportunity to talk about other shows, so I thought I'd get that out the way first. I probably will make a video on the boys in the future because I feel like it's overdue. And it leads into a topic that I wanted to discuss, and I might make a whole video on this as well. I got so many ideas. But basically, do you know how in The Boys there's like that whole Girls Get It Done marketing campaign?
Yeah, which is a parody of like Marvel and.
Where it's basically just using, you know, female empowerment for marketing rather than actually believing in any of it.
Yeah.
That really reminded me of the It's About Time campaign for Series 11.
Yeah,
remember,
no,
like...
there were a lot of parallels between the like corporate, like when they're shooting the like very corporate like movie for the 7. There are a lot of parallels. Obviously, it's parodying like Marvel mostly, but there's a lot of parallels to Doctor Who right now, kind of as well.
Yeah,
like
I feel like that.
Just sort of that fakeness that, like, I feel like when I watch the last 2 seasons of the show, like it just sort of, it feels calculated, but there's no charm. There's no soul. I don't know how to describe it.
It's like it's been produced in a lab almost in a way.
And
like, these are all the elements of a Doctor Who. Let's put them all together and boom, you get a Doctor Who. It's
and I mean, you've seen my video essay. You know that I have problems with like season 10 and season 9. Like they're very flawed in my opinion, but they still have like a soul, I think. Like there's a big difference between season 10 with Capaldi and season 11, or God forbid season 12, which I consider even worse, with Whittaker. It's like,
yeah, I mean, I personally, that's where we do disagree, is that I think series 12 is a marginal improvement over series 11.
Well, I can understand seeing that, because I think season 11 is more boring.
Like, at least with series 12,
season
like,
12
had the Master there.
The thing about season 12,
there, which I liked and stuff.
The reason I think season 12 is worse is because I think season 11 is boring and soulless, which is bad, obviously. But I think season 12 actively like breaks the canon, and I think in the long term that's kind of worse. I
think for me, like, obviously when that Timeless Child thing happened, a lot of people were talking about the canon and pretty Hartnell and whatever. And I think my big issue with it, I did an entire video essay on this, was more the fact that it made the Doctor a god, kind of.
Yeah.
Because
I think I saw that.
Like, yeah, I did like a whole thing on it and basically got the definition of a god up, with it being like a superhuman with abilities that no one else has, who's, you know, sort of the center of everything. And I'm like, yeah, that's basically what the Timeless Child is, because regeneration is a superpower, and it is basically a deity, for lack of a better term. And it's one of those things, I think, from a character perspective, that's one of the things the Doctor should never ever be, is a god. I mean, that's what they made her/him/they.
I'll just say they from here on out, just to not.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, it gets confusing.
But yeah, they have like a more mysterious and powerful origin than most actual superheroes. Like even Superman doesn't have an origin that deity like he's just an alien from another planet. The Doctor now came from God knows where, some other universe, and has these other universe like power. For all we know, the Doctor was the only one in that universe, like literally a god.
Yeah,
from that universe.
We literally don't know.
Yeah, it's not very well written. I'm gonna be real. It's
not. I think it's always like, it's one of those things with Doctor Who. People will say, you know what, every run does stupid things, but it's like with this, it feels particularly egregious because one of the main sort of selling points for this era going in was, it's a fresh start. You don't need any canon for any of it. And then they do series 11, which is really that. It was questionably done. No, but it was questionably done. But like, okay, you've tried to get some new viewers in. Then series 12, they go, okay, hey, new viewers, here's Morbius Doctors, and you're just like,
it's weird.
Come again.
What's weird is Chibnall X. He kind of tried to make season 11 a jumping on point. But I thought the whole point of season 10 was that it was like a jumping on point. That was sort of Moffat kept going on about how that was, and I mean, it may have been a little bit of an odd choice for him to pick that season, considering that he was about to quit and Peter was about to quit and like everyone was about to leave. But like, I think it just kind of inadvertently happened because season 9 was like such a huge, like that was such a wrap up on Moffat's like story before that maybe he didn't even know that he was gonna only do one more season at the time that he did season 9.
I don't think he actually planned on doing series 10. I think that might be why.
Well, it's just sort of, he was put in this awkward place where like he wrapped up his like arc from season 5 through to 9, and then he just has one extra season which is kind of just its own thing. So he decided to make it a jumping on point, but then season 11 is also trying to be a jumping on point. So it's bizarre.
I get it from the perspective of a new showrunner wants their new start. That makes sense. Like, if I was the showrunner, I would want to have my own starting point. But I feel as though if it's gotta be good. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's just, I've got nothing wrong with a jumping on point. I've got nothing wrong with the idea conceptually of having a series comprised of new villains. It's just the fact that it's got to be done well, and it just wasn't, in my opinion. Like, you don't necessarily need those links to the past. They do help, especially if the writing isn't quite there, just to assure the audience that, yes, you're still watching the same show. But I think that, yeah, Series 11's biggest downfall for me is that it tried to be a reboot. It just didn't do the reboot thing well.
Well, instead of like doing what a reboot should do, which is like inject some new life or flavor into the IP, all it did was badly try to rip off David Tennant and Matt Smith, but kind of missed the point.
Everyone kind of said it was a breath of fresh air, and I'm just this feels the same. This feels the exact same, though. This feels so much like RTD, but just done badly. It's ridiculous.
Season 8 was a breath of fresh air, but everyone shat on it endlessly, and then Moffat got scared and then reverted back to
I think
like a
my
Matt Smith
problem
style.
with
Season 8?
with series 8 is that it doesn't really feel like it feels kind of dated when you watch Deep Breath.
Oh, it's not great. I'm not gonna say that I think Series 8 is it's
like,
very flawed.
Imagine someone's first episode being Deep Breath, and the first thing they see is a lizard woman, a potato man, and a crime fighter from the Victorian period. That would probably alienate.
I think that episode's kind of ass. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna.
Into the Dalek's good, and I like Flatline and things, but like generally, I'm not a huge fan of the Capaldi era in general. Mummy on the Orient Express is good.
Yeah, well, I think season 8, despite being very flawed, is still my favorite season of his, because like the problem I think with season 8 is that it feels, unlike season 11, which like feels like soulless and kind of empty, season 8 feels like it's trying to do something new, but it just like doesn't do it right, and it doesn't really understand how to write, or Moffat, I guess, doesn't really understand how to write a dark character super well. So he's kind of, and also Clara, I mean, one episode she goes off on the Doctor that he's like the worst person she's ever met, and she hates him, and she never wants to see him again. And then he just shows up again next episode, and then she's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll hang out with you again, whatever.
Yeah, I just, it becomes so difficult to talk about the new stuff, because like, at the end of the day, it almost feels like the criticisms are so unanimous with it, that it becomes difficult to add anything new to the conversation, really, which is why in like more recent video essays I tend to sort of cover the show as a whole, and then sort of say why the Chibnall period is like the culmination of all the bad stuff that I've already mentioned.
Yeah, it's kind of, it takes all the bad from like the late 80s Doctor Who and the bad from like Moffat's Doctor Who, and it like takes the worst parts of all of them together and like puts them in a blender. It's like the perfectly calculated bad Doctor Who.
It's just, I get why people, I didn't before, but I do get the appeal of it. Because I can't lie, seeing things like Captain Jack, there is part of you that gets a little bit excited as a Doctor Who fan when you see those things. Well, when you realise that all it is manipulation of your emotions and nostalgia, it kind of becomes a bit less.
Yeah, well, season 12 was trying to like get hype. It was trying to like get people excited again. It's like the Master's back and Captain Jack is back. Jack's back, baby. And like, we changed the lore. There's all this deep lore about the timeless child and stuff. This will please the OG fans, but all it did is piss them off, because I don't think I'm a lot of people did like the new Master. Obviously, I didn't.
Yeah, I did personally. I was one of the few that like. That's like literally the only thing about this.
I should clarify really quick that I actually like. In the video, it comes across that I'm shitting on the actor. It's more that I'm shitting on the incarnation. Like, not. I think the actor Sacha, what's his last name again?
Dewan.
Yeah, Sacha Dewan. I think he's a perfectly fine actor. I think the problem is just how he's written. But yeah, I guess some people like him. But the thing is, people hated Captain Jack's appearance because it was like 3 seconds long and pointless, and he didn't even interact with the Doctor. And everyone hates the timeless child reveal, so like, it wasn't a very successful hype campaign on Chibnall's
No,
part.
and as well, there was the fact that they only marketed it to the Twitter, and it's like people already watching, and it's like that doesn't really work because you're not going to get any new audiences.
Yeah.
It's like they almost gave up on the idea of new audiences as soon as like series 11. It's like, right, we got our new audience, but like they didn't actually realize that, oh shit, we didn't actually get
yeah, that's the thing.
The audience that we wanted.
People,
and then they're like stuck.
People tuned in to see the new Doctor. That's why it has high ratings at first. And then all the news publications were like, look at how good the ratings are. It's better. The ratings are higher than they've ever been.
But that was always going to happen.
It shed all its viewers very quickly. And then you look at season 12, and it's the worst rated season since the classic series. I believe. I'm pretty sure.
I think the Timeless Children got the lowest. I think we talked about this on the Quinton one as well. The lowest of the current like episodes, Modern Who, right? It's the lowest viewed episode ever.
Yeah, and considering that was supposed to be the most important episode in the entire New Who, because it rewrites everything about the Doctor, and like season 11 and 12 were building up to it, you'd think that would be like the highest rated episode of the two seasons, but it's not. It's the opposite.
It's essentially meant to be this era's equivalent to the Time War, essentially.
I was kind of thinking he was trying to do like a Journey's End, Stolen Earth kind of.
Yeah, I mean...
It rips off a lot of previous... Like, I mentioned the video, I said it rips off, like, the parting of the ways at the end.
Yeah. It rips off a lot.
It's weird how Chibnall just rips off other Doctor Who episodes, but he gets it wrong, like, every time.
I think my thing about it is that there's nothing inherently wrong with taking inspiration from stuff.
Oh, no, there's not.
You know, RTD, if you look back at his run, a lot of his stories were inspired by... Classic. Earlier big finishes and stuff. Obviously, Dalek was a direct adaptation by the writer himself, Rob Sheeman, from Jubilee, which was a big finish story. Obviously, with Human Nature and Family of Blood, that was
a book direct before that, right?
It was a Virgin New Adventure by Paul Cornell, who also did the TV adaptation. So there was a lot of stuff borrowed there, but there they expand on it and they make it fit the characters, and they improve it for the format that it's going to. With Chibnall, it seems like he basically just like saw the Cartmel master plan, and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that," but like didn't actually take the time to adapt it for television and adapt it to general audiences, or like adapt it to what's come sort of after that plan was initially conceived. Because like if you think about it, the whole point of the show thus far has been the Doctor is just some person who travels around and fixes things. Like 11 says it, just a madman with a box. That's kind of the whole point of the Doctor's character up until this point. So to make them not that kind of spits in the face of pretty much the entirety of what New Who has built, at least in my like opinion. I get the idea of wanting a reset, kind of similarly to you know, in like comics where they'd have like, oh, they'll just reset the universe and have a new one. Just so that they can, like, undo the baggage. I get that to an extent, but there are better ways of going about it than just, oh yes, here are pictures of Doctors on screen. There you go. There's your reset. It just, and as well, I'm half convinced it's barely gonna get brought up. Like it's all. I think it's gonna be like a paradigm Dalek situation, where they see that it's not liked, and then they just sort of ignore that it ever happened.
Yeah,
and that's almost worse.
The thing is,
in a way.
Yeah, no, I hate it when people do that. I mean, I can go on a quick side tangent, but I think an example of that happening is, I don't know if you watched Game of Thrones when it was on, but like the showrunners, Dan Weiss, David Benioff, they did this arc in Dorne with the characters called the Sand Snakes, and everyone absolutely hated what they did with the Sand Snakes. So then what they just did is basically just dropped like the plot line from the show. But that makes it even worse in hindsight, because now it's just this season with these really terrible sand snake scenes that don't even lead anywhere. So instead of trying to fix it, they just dropped it. And I think with the Timeless Child, he might just sort of like ignore that it happened. But not only is that going to make it seem weird and pointless in hindsight, but like you can't even really get away with that because you rewrote the whole canon of the show. And if he tries to just ignore it, then it's just... The
thing is, people say, oh, well, people ignore the half-human thing from the movie. It's like, yeah, that was a one-off line. You can kind of...
Well, the thing is, you can make the argument that the Master was just wrong. that maybe he's just an
or,
idiot.
or you can make the argument that, you know,
The doctor was joking. Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can do. But like with that line, it's a lot easier to excuse a single like line of dialogue
to a whole episode,
an entire arc of a series. That's a lot more difficult to sort of
2 seasons debatably, because the Timeless Child is like referenced in season 11 too.
Yeah, I mean it's established in series 11, but they don't actually really do anything with it properly until series 12. Like that whole arc is one of those things where it's like, I kind of get what they were going for, but it's just like there's so many better ways you could have executed it. In my opinion, like RTD is the perfect demonstration of that. Like you can have the characters in a new situation, but fundamentally keep the characters the same. Because like the Time Warp, when you think about it, is a massive change to the canon, because obviously they had
Gallifrey,
Eighth Doctor adventures in between the Wilderness Years, obviously when it came off the air, and back in 2005. Obviously with the Time War, some of those things had to change, but like at the end of the day, it serviced a narrative. I don't feel as though, I mean, the argument is, well, let's just see if it does service the narrative. I don't think it will, and if it does, it could arguably, I mean, in my view, if they do continue down the route, like, let's say they carry it on, like, where can you realistically go? Like, I don't know what next step would be after this. You just...
They turn the Doctor into a god, which ruins, like, the point of the Doctor being, you know, choosing to help, like, instead of being born to. And then, like, what do you do after that? After you, like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get what phase 2 of this arc would be. Like, it feels like Chibnall's, like, dropped his series, like, you know, his era-ending finale, like...
Too early? A bit like Moffat did?
Yeah, and it's like, now we're like, where do you go from there with it? If you go anywhere with it, that's the thing. And I'm like, I'm not going to say that Moffat was perfect, because he had his fair share of retconny things. Like, oh, why did the Doctor leave Gallifrey? It was because of the hybrid. You know, the Clara
the hybrid thing was weird. And that just
the hybrid
got
thing they still never explained.
That was like
explained it.
Yeah, I still don't even get it. To like what it was Maisie Williams, right?
Yeah, the whole thing that they said was, oh, it doesn't matter what the hybrid is. It's like, well, why make an arc about it?
I mean, Heaven Sent is an amazing episode, and yet it's based on the idea of the hybrid, and I don't know what the fuck that was all about. Like, it almost kind of reminds me of the Timeless Child almost feels like a weird spin-off of the hybrid. Like, he was trying to do his own hybrid idea. But, like, the thing, you can argue for the Timeless Child, at least, like, it makes some sense a little bit.
Yeah, like, you know what it's trying to do.
I still don't know what the hybrid was after all this time.
You don't like what the Timeless Child does, but you sort of get
I know what it, at least I know what it is.
Whereas, like, the hybrid, no one really... No,
I think
still doesn't know.
The only arc that rivals the Timeless Child in terms of stupidity is the whole hybrid and the Maisie Williams thing, where the Doctor just conveniently has this fucking thing that makes anyone immortal.
I also think the Series 6 art was pretty convoluted. Like
that too. I don't think that's quite as dumb. It's quite dumb, but like
no, it makes kind of sense, but at the same time, it's kind of like you've been building up who this character was for there basically to just be, oh, your companion's accident. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of an underwhelming
and it reminds me just how weirdly inconsistent time travel rules are, depending on who the head writer is. Because I remember in Russell T Davies' era, if you messed with a fixed point in time, these I don't remember what they were called, but like these monster things would appear and just start eating people. That was what happened.
I'd have to look it up. I'm going to look it up.
That was what happened under Russell's era. Then in Stephen Moffat's era, it was different, where suddenly and even it was inconsistent within his era, where sometimes if you knew something was going to happen, you couldn't change it, like with Amy and Rory dying or with the Doctor dying.
Yeah, with Moffat, he kept
changing
whatever he wanted.
Yeah, it's completely inconsistent. Yeah, but sometimes the Doctor does change stuff, so it's like what's fixed, what's not. It's a fixed point in time if Moffat wants it to be, and you can change it if he doesn't care. That's basically what it ends up being. Like, why wasn't it a fixed point in time for Amy in the Girl Who Waited, that episode? Like, why wasn't it a fixed point in time for her to get old there and die? Like, what clarifies when it's a fixed point in time? Like it
Like,
it
all of
was when she
Rory's
falls off
deaths
the
and
building in
all.
Manhattan, but it wasn't there. Like what?
Yeah, like Moffat did whatever, which to be fair is fun in its own way because you have quite cool
It's exciting,
time
I guess. You never
travel-y
know
based episodes.
what's gonna happen because you never know if something's a fixed point in time or not. But like,
Because I've always liked, things like the little short where the TARDIS gets stuck inside the TARDIS and they're all like a couple of seconds behind each other.
That could have
and
been a
stuff.
whole episode. That was a really cool idea.
I think they could probably do it.
They
but,
could
like,
still do it if they want, but maybe not under Chibnall though, because he'd find a way.
That's
to screw it up.
the thing. Like with the that with Moffat's benefit was that he did some really creative things with the whole time travel thing, which isn't really like utilized in a lot of Doctor Who. It's basically just the method in which the characters get to the locations. Whereas Moffat was like,
he played.
Yeah,
with
let's
it a
do
lot.
some stuff with time, which was quite fun. But also, obviously, as we said, led to a lot of inconsistencies. But that's the thing as well. Like, I don't really know what Chibnall's thing is.
Yeah, he doesn't have a style. It's almost like he takes like the window dressing of other Doctor Who stories that he's ripping off, but he like misses the point of what they were actually about. So he doesn't really have like a style the way that RTD or Moffat had.
Thing is, with RTD, it was kind of the drama one, the sort of almost soapy one in a way,
very
where it's like family drama and relationships and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
which
He was
obviously
very
brought on
into
a
the
lot
sort of sad breakup.
Yeah.
Like Doctor and Rose.
The emotions,
they love it.
essentially.
Moffat was sort of, he had these cool like experimental
He was
ideas.
the big concept
And
guy.
I mean,
He
I'll
was the
say
one
I've
who's like-
said this like a lot of times, but I think Moffat might be one of the best at coming up with ideas of any Doctor Who writer that I can think of. He came up with some of the coolest like villains, like the Weeping Angels, and just some of the coolest ideas. But his problem is he doesn't know how to actually like write like a continuous arc or like use those cool concepts he comes up with very effectively. So when he was writing one-off episodes under RTD, like he wrote some of the best episodes because it was just a single episode. It wasn't like a full arc.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing.
then when he
Moffat
became
needs someone to rein him in.
yeah, when he became head writer
Moffat.
and he could do whatever the fuck he wanted, he's like even in like his later seasons, like season 10, which I don't think is very good. Like he still had some really cool ideas, but the problem is that it just like the what were the name of the priests? Was it the priests in season 10? Is that what they're called?
The monks.
The monks, yeah, fuck, I forgot. But yeah, the monks, that was a cool idea, I think, but like it was really poorly done overall, I think. Especially like in The Lie of the Land, I believe that's the episode.
Yeah,
with
I
that
really don't like
teaser
that
regeneration. Like a bit like with the hybrid, I still don't understand 100% what happened, and I've seen it twice now, I think.
I think like Lie of the Land essentially is just the Doctor pretends to be like working for the monks,
but then he isn't.
And then the day he gets saved by the power of love.
It's weird because the monks are so powerful that they can just take over the earth when Bill gives them like blessing to. But like, I mean, why do they? We never found out why they need blessing and why they, if they're that powerful, why they don't just like enslave everyone.
I mean, I think it's. If I had to guess, I would say like it's just the monk gimmick.
I know,
Kinda
but
like how you get a priest
if
to
they're
bless
that
your child or
powerful,
whatever,
would there not be like a breakaway sect of the monks who just start conquering? I feel like inevitably,
maybe.
I don't know.
It's kind of like with the Silence, like the Silence are a church.
Yeah, the
thing.
Silence are incredibly powerful too, and like.
But then like I think the Series 6 ones were like, the Series 6 opener ones were like bad ones, and the ones in the church
Are the good ones.
were like good ones.
Like the ones
fought
that on
against,
in
like,
the
Doctor.
end of time.
Or
no, the day, not the
Time
end
of
of
the
time. I
Doctor.
meant sorry, the time of the Doctor. Yeah, I was getting confused.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
both have time in the name.
No, that's alright. It's one of those with like the villains of the show as well. It's just like, sometimes like, Moffat's very good at unique concepts. Like, there's so many, one-off things that he made that were just so, just genius for lack of a better term almost. And it's like, obviously RTD was again more about character based. Moffat was more concept based, and I just don't know what Chibnall's
Stealing
strength
based?
is meant to be. Yeah,
That's kind of
people say
his thing.
People say it's like, oh, it's the character drama because of things like Broadchurch, but then you're like, but the series 11 and 12 characters have no character.
Yeah, it's
so
like
how can it be the character based?
like Yaz has no character. Ryan has like the beginnings of having a character, but like it's not really fully realized. Graham comes the closest. I mean, he kind of has like that tragic beginning to his story when his wife dies, but like like he's not nearly as fleshed out as companions like he used to be, like Amy or like Donna or Martha or even Rose. And I think personally, I think Rose is kind of overrated. I still think she's a good companion, especially compared to what we have now.
I agree that Rose is overrated. I agree.
I mean, Donna and Martha are better, especially Donna. If I'm just
I like Amy personally.
And Amy too. Yeah, Amy's good.
Because with Amy, like a lot of people, slag her off for like mistreating Rory, and
I mean that was a bit weird in season 5 when she keeps trying
she's almost like punished for being like that in a way, because the doctor's like, no, this isn't right. We're gonna, get you back together, and it's gonna be good. Whereas like for example, when 13's a bitch, for lack of a better term, she gets rewarded for being kind of a bitch. And, like an example of that would be things like in Saranga Conundrum, where she points out a fault that someone has, and then 2 seconds later the guy gets ejected, and you're like, well, okay.
Among Us moment.
Yeah. He was not
that episode. Yeah, that's a weird one. It's like they ran out of budget, so they just filmed an episode in like a few hallways.
Yeah, it's really weird, that one.
It's not a good one.
Thing is, it's quite a good setting for a story. Like a tight spaceship is usually where Doctor Who stories thrive.
Well, there have been a lot of spaceship Doctor Who episodes that, like, just a shit ton of them, and like I think they vary in quality hugely. I mean, there are great ones for sure, but then there's like 42, or it's like something like that.
I think the thing with Saranga Conundrum, though, if the villain had been threatening, I think that episode could have been pretty solid.
Like almost like an alien type thing.
Yeah, like if the alien was genuinely scary, like it would have been an effective horror style like story. But like then you see this most powerful creature of the universe, and it's this little chibi looking Funko Pop, and you're like, what?
What I meant was like the movie Alien, where like it's a super threatening alien who just picks off.
Yeah, something like that. That's what it should like.
It's weird because the episode is almost like it's like Alien, but if the alien wasn't intimidating at all, and they kill it by they don't even kill it. They get it to like eat a bomb, and they eject it, which is so like childish. It's like like the tone of the new seasons are weirdly like childish, but like it's like it doesn't know it, like it still thinks that it's like a show like that like adults would want to watch, but it's like so. It's so not interesting to like anyone over the age of like 13.
Thing is, that's the thing. It seems very tonally confused because at some points it seems childish, and then at other points
it
the
thinks that it's
like,
not.
I took the insides of the Time Lords and shoved them into the Cybermen. Yeah. And it's just like, well, which is it? You can't have both. You're either, this dark sort of story about this mythical creature becoming a god, or you're this happy-go-lucky CBBC style show. You can't do both.
Yeah, there are points when it genuinely feels like the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yeah, but I think that's unfair to the Sarah Jane Adventures.
I know, because at least that was like consistent. And
that
also
had a consistent tone.
Better.
To me, like the Sarah Jane
I'm not going to say that I'm a huge fan of it.
Was just slightly lighter RTD Who.
Yeah.
But like even that would get quite dark at points. Like I genuinely think like Nightmare Man and stuff, that could get quite dark and threatening. Especially for one directed at kids. Whereas like I've never had one moment in this era so far where it's been like, whoa, they're scary as like a force. Like any of the villains, they've just not had that effect on me personally. Like I know that a lot of people like Ashad and stuff. I honestly thought Ashad sounded ridiculous. I like the design, but I think it's the voice that does it for me, because it's like partly roboticized. Because like it just sounds so dumb.
Yeah, I think the last time I can remember Doctor Who being like even like a little bit scary, and like to be honest, I don't really consider Doctor Who to be like at least for me especially like scary. But I think the last time it delved into some like disturbing places was Extremis, season 10, for me at least. Yeah. When like you find out that the characters you've been watching have just been in a simulation, and it's like, damn, getting into some interesting
that was
places
cool,
there.
but like I think again that was kind of handled.
Not done like super well. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's like a masterpiece, but that's the last time I can remember. Like
I've always
thinking...
thought that line was stupid, where Capaldi's like, "When you shoot the people in computer games," and it's like,
yeah, no, it's
this
that's
was
very
clearly
boomer.
written by
There's some
someone who
boomer
hasn't
energy
played
there.
a video game in like the last 20 years, but
Yeah, it's yeah. No, I'm not saying I think like no. I don't think season 10 is very good, and I don't think that episode is great by any means. I'm just saying that's the last time I remember thinking that they was playing with some concepts that are like a little bit more mature than.
like, I've seen some people genuinely say that series 10 is their favorite, and like I can.
Yeah, no, a
see
lot of
the
people
appeal
really
to a
love
certain
season 10, and like I kind of understand it a little bit, but I don't agree with it at all personally. I think it's
Yeah, I think for me, I've always not particularly liked that era of the show. I respected Series 8. I think the quality
too.
just wasn't always there. I respected it for doing something different with the Doctor. Series 9, they backpedal hard. And
yeah.
introduce some of
Series
the,
9 is the first time that I genuinely disliked a new season Doctor Who, because I think I started
Same.
watching when I started watching when I was a kid. I think around season 6. Yeah, when that was just starting, when season 6 was like just starting, is when I became a fan of the show.
Okay.
And it's funny because that's right when it started like going downhill, kind of. But
Yeah.
like I still liked season 6, 7, and even 8, even though I had problems with them. And I defended season 8 because like when it came out, people are nicer to it now, but when it came out, everyone was shitting on it like mercilessly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then season 9 came out, and then I kept seeing people saying this is so much better than season 8, and I was like, what the fuck are you? This is actually like bad. And that was the first time that I was completely not defending or at all into
Well, that was
a
like
new
the sort
season.
of point in my life that I sort of stopped watching. Because I started with The Next Doctor, the Series 4 special. That was my first episode. And obviously I went back and watched everything before that point. Series 5 was my first proper series I watched all the way through, which is probably why Matt Smith is my favourite.
All right,
Doctor.
so you were one season before me in terms of like jumping on then.
In terms of like full on season.
Yeah, because I jumped
was,
on right as season 6 was starting. I
Well,
watched
series,
that
I
as it
should
came
say.
out. Yeah, series. It's weird that they call it series. Is that just a thing
Yeah.
in Britain?
I mean,
or it's
I
like...
call it series. Yeah, it's a British thing, but I mean,
Okay.
I think because you called it season, I just sort of followed along with what you said.
Well, I think they're kind of. I guess the classic series was seasons, and the new series is
Yeah,
series. Is the idea? So
yeah,
that's
that's the way they distinguish it. Is classic is season.
Yeah, I used to
new
have
is
no problem,
series.
like back when I was obsessed with Doctor Who more when I was a bit younger. I used to have no problem remembering series versus seasons, but now that I watch a lot of other shows, I mean, it's kind of my brain has trouble like remembering that it's supposed to be series for Doctor Who, but season for like everything else ever.
Yeah, it's one of those where like I don't know, American versus English is just kind of.
Well,
weird.
I'm not American either, so it's like I'm like Canadian English, which is a weird like hodgepodge of
I
British
did wonder where the accent came from. I was curious.
Yeah, Canadian English is like we take certain things from British, like for example the word like spelling, like the word color is like still has a U in it as opposed to American.
Oh, we
where
have
they take
the
U out. Yeah, so we take a lot of things from British, or the spelling is pretty much the same, but the pronunciation tends to be more American. So like, except for the really stupid things, like Americans say shit like foyer, where you're supposed to like foyer, and like
it's foyer.
Yeah, I mean, if it's really dumb, we don't carry it over. But generally, it's the American pronunciation, but the British spelling is usually the rule.
Yeah.
With exceptions.
Because I always got a sort of American, like, sort of accent. Because obviously, from you when I watched your videos, because obviously they do become difficult to distinguish for someone who's not in the know between.
Well, I'm going to be honest.
The
Canadian accent, like, if you live in, like, Toronto, is pretty much the exact same as an American accent.
Yeah.
Like, unless we're talking about the South. But for most of the states, the accent is pretty much just the same as Canada, minus, like, the far north.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I mean, for me, I'm Welsh, so I mean, a lot of people just, think I'm British, but I'm actually, I am.
Well,
British,
technically, you are British because.
I am
English,
British, but I'm
like,
not English.
Yeah.
That's what I should have said, because it's one of those things people always say you're from England. It's like, nope, I'm not. I don't associate with Boris over there. I'm something else, slightly different. Nice distinction, but it's also where a lot of Doctor Who's filmed, so that's cool.
Don't Wales and Scotland like have their own parliaments like under the British? Like I know that there's a Scottish parliament that's like it's a really weird building and everyone makes fun of it.
We're sort of the way it works is kind of we're united when it's convenient for the government for us to be united. So, for example, basically the English government, when lockdown was happening and Wales was good to reopen, they didn't let us reopen because England couldn't reopen. So it's basically... But then at certain points, it's like we can make our own decisions. For, like, example, Wales has just come out of a 2-week... They called it the firebreaker lockdown, which is essentially like, oh yeah, we're going to do this quick 2-week one where the kids are off school for 2 weeks and see how it goes. Whereas England have just gone into a 4-week one without the schools closing at all. So yeah, but like we're not doing that. So it does become very complicated because like we can self-govern, but also no. So it's a bit all over the place, to be honest, with British.
Yeah, I think that's pretty historical, where Scotland and Wales are like not super happy being unified with England, but they kind of at this point they kind of accept it. Ireland less like so.
I mean, like the idea of independence has sort of gained a lot of prominence with Scotland and Wales recently. Like Scotland went through it once, and it didn't go through. But I think they might again soon if, like, you know.
I'm gonna be honest. I think it's not impossible that in the next few decades Scotland will referendum will go through, and they'll split away.
Even the idea in Wales has come along as well.
Yeah, I mean, because Scotland is a lot more politically liberal than England, which tend to be more conservative. I think, from what I've seen. I don't live there, obviously, but that's the gist I get. Yeah, and like when you look at Brexit, it's like Scotland almost unanimously every area of it voted to remain, and England almost every area voted to leave. So it's like, and Scotland isn't very happy about the whole Brexit thing. I don't know if Wales is.
I don't think. I think it's difficult because we get a lot of help from the EU, so it was kind of that weird, but we kind of like the EU. But then there were some people in Wales who also wanted to leave, so it becomes very, very difficult to I guess quantify what everyone wants. But yeah, I think I'll probably do a little bit of a shorter one for this one, just because there's stuff going on in the background. But like, I wanted to ask you, obviously, I'm at the risk of sounding like one of your commenters. Have you got anything else Doctor Who wise? In the pipeline at all, or?
Yeah, honestly, since people ask me about it relentlessly, and since they get the most views of anything I put up, like I'll probably make either a part 3, like maybe around the time season 13 comes out, or before then. If I don't want to wait that long, I'll like make a different video, maybe about the classic series, because like I think it'd be interesting to talk about that a little bit more. There's a lot of things that I think are interesting and underrated about the classic series. I mean, when I was a kid, I always thought the classic series was like not very good when I was a kid, because I was used to New Who, and I mean I still watched like episodes from it, and there were like things that I liked, but like I definitely was an elitist to New Who, and I believed it was a lot better. And if you ask me now, I'd say that like Russell T Davies era is probably my favorite era of Doctor Who, like in general, classic or modern. But like classic Doctor Who is a huge mixed bag, but there is some pretty damn interesting stuff in there, and there's some, I mean, it's cheesy as hell, but that's kind of part of what makes me like it, honestly, at this point. Like, it's so fun to watch, especially the 70s stuff.
I think for me, Classic Who is one of those, I've never really had an issue watching it, because my second Doctor Who story was Tube and Cybermen, which is the Patrick Troughton story, so I never really had an issue with the effect, really. Yeah, it's a great story. It's like one of my favorites still of all time.
I watched. That's one of the ones I watched when I was a kid. I tried to watch a few from like each classic Doctor, and that's one of the most famous Second Doctor ones. And I honestly don't remember that much about it at this point because it was a long time ago. But I remember thinking it had a very spooky vibe. I like it.
I really. It's the reason the Cybermen are my favorite villains, but just because of. Just how well they're done in that story. Like, they're so threatening. And
that might be the best the Cybermen have ever been done, actually.
In my opinion, yeah. Like they haven't been topped.
Yeah, that's almost... Is that their second or third appearance, like, ever?
I think it might be their third.
It's pretty close to the beginning, but either way, it's like it's amazing they haven't managed to top it in all this time from
Yeah, then. I think it's 10th Planet, then Moonbase, then Tomb, so I think it would be the third. If in the comments, if anyone's still watching at this point, you can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the third one along. So yeah, it's pretty early on, but in my opinion, like, that's the scariest they've ever been.
Okay. I've just realized...
Obviously, I've done an entire Yes.
I don't know if this is bad timing. I've just realized that I've had my mic setting like too high up, and like a lot of my audio has been peaking this whole time.
I could try and like balance it out.
Okay, I'm gonna turn down my audio right now so it'll stop peaking. So maybe, I don't know, you might want to turn it up in post a bit here. Let me just adjust that knob. Let me just.
What I'll probably do is I'll just split where you turn down.
Quiet.
I'll just split where you turn down and just.
Okay, let me see. I'm just talking right now to see if the wavelength looks good. Yeah, that looks better. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
okay.
alright. I'll just turn you down.
I might just sound like I'm shouting for a lot of this.
That's alright. I'll just turn you down a bit in the editing. It'll be fine.
Alright.
Let's because about behind the scenes, folks. I mean, there's literally a vacuum cleaner started randomly in the middle of this.
Yeah,
so
I heard that.
To be fair,
added some nice ambience.
To be fair, like my podcasts are like the break from actually editing stuff, actually bothering to edit things, because that's my least favorite part of.
That's the nice thing about podcasts.
Of the YouTube process. Yeah, you can just sort of upload it and no one cares about stops or pauses or anything. But yeah, I like obviously. If you do, what I would suggest you do, because that's what I'm going to do, is obviously Revolution of the Daleks comes out Christmas, and that's when ad rates are high. So,
I haven't even been like following the
that.
news. That is it coming out on Christmas instead of New Year's again, or are they going back?
We still don't know.
Okay, because I thought the Chibnall was like done with Christmas specials. Because I don't know why the hell they moved it to New Year's. Was it like to just try to like?
I think they just wanted to like try something different and just like see how it went. It didn't go very well.
Yeah,
from what
I
could
heard
see.
it being something about like the BBC not wanting to like be exclusive to Christmas and be more sort of accepting.
I think
but that might just be like a dumb theory.
I think that's probably just rumor thing.
Probably I don't know if it's true or not.
Realistically, people don't mind. Even if you're of another religion, like people don't mind things being on Christmas because it's a unanimously agreed sort of big sort of holiday period. Like, thing is, New Year as well, like the atmosphere is a bit more somber, whereas on Christmas Day, whether you celebrate it or not, it does tend to be a bit more I don't know, just cheerful at least. So I mean, I think it's probably the better place for a Doctor Who episode in my view. Like,
but to be fair, there was this sort of weird thing that happened where there's a Christmas special every year, and it was not in fact, it's been extremely common for the Doctor to regenerate like around the Christmas special, because that's a convenient episode that's kind of in between seasons. So actually every single Doctor except the 9th Doctor just by coincidence regenerated right after doing a Christmas themed adventure. I'm almost surprised there was never a joke about the Doctor becoming like afraid of Christmas, because every time he does Christmas
I remember there was an honest trailer. Have you seen like that series on YouTube where it does honest trailers for things?
Do they make a joke about how the Doctor always dies at Christmas?
Yeah. They do a joke where it's like where the Doctor battles his most feared nemesis, Christmas.
Oh, I just realized even the 9th Doctor, he regenerates at the end of season 1, but then the episode that deals with the regeneration is a Christmas episode.
It's Christmas.
So debatably, every single Doctor in the new series regenerates at Christmas.
Yeah, he's not even exempt from it.
Yeah,
which is quite funny. But yeah, no, I think like thing is with Doctor Who, it's one of those weird ones where it's like, what do you say other than it's kind of shit at the minute?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
that's kind of all you can. It is kind of shit currently. Like
that's why I kind of sort of spoke about The Boys in the first segment of this, because I wasn't really sure. Like, obviously in terms of, I know you've done other stuff. But, while we're there. I mean, I really enjoyed your commentary video on the animations. Just as an aside, I really liked that one too.
The one on the weird animated channel.
Yeah. I've dabbled in commentary myself.
Yeah, it's like I have like two different types of videos. There's like the ones that have a blue intro, and those are the ones that are like video essays, and the ones that have a red intro are more sort of like they're kind of like commentary videos, but I'm also kind of playing a bit of a character in them.
Yeah.
Who's like kind of an idiot, but I'm also making fun of like dumb shit in those videos. So that's kind of the duality of my channel, the yin and yang, if you will.
I mean, I have like two different intros, one for Doctor Who videos, one for non-Doctor Who videos. I mean, to be fair, the Doctor Who one has basically become my default one, because I basically just make more Doctor Who videos than anything else, just because that's what people like to see from me, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
Which is fine and dandy. I don't mind making. Oh God, what was that? So my phone just started playing a video by itself. That's not concerning at all.
Nice. Technology is becoming conscious. It will rise up on us soon. It's only a matter of time at this point. That reminds me of like my laptop used to do that. Like sometimes, like when I was like 14, I think when I just got the laptop, like my family would be over, and then it would, because I used to like watch Game Grumps back then.
Yeah.
Or like 14, 15, and I'd leave like a Game Grumps video open, and if like my computer, if I got a notification or something, my computer would just turn on and it would start playing the video, but like the screen wouldn't turn on, the audio would just start playing. So like my laptop would be in the room, like I wouldn't be there, but my family would be talking, and then suddenly fucking like Aaron Hansen just saying, "Fuck this shit! Oh God! Oh, this is ass!" That would just start coming out of my laptop.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And then they had to come get me and be like, "Why did your laptop just start swearing at me?" And I'd have to go deal with it.
It's weird with technology. Like we've all got weird stories of it just doing things that we don't expect it to do. Like literally, I don't know whether I've told this story on the channel before, but it seems relevant seeing as I'm a Doctor Who channel. Like I had, obviously everyone has like a sonic screwdriver at some point in their lives. And I had obviously the 11th Doctor's one because that was the current one at the time.
I also had an 11th.
And if I'm remembering this correctly, me and my brother went to a Sainsbury's, which for those of you who don't know is a shop here in good old U of K.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, I don't know how you would describe Sainsbury's. It's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's kind of like one of the higher up ones. Like in terms of, if there was like a poshometer for shops, Sainsbury's would be like higher than Tesco's, but like lower than something like Waitrose, where all like the Tories go.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so we're at Sainsbury's, and my brother takes out a Sonic and starts playing with it, pressing it, whatever.
Yep.
And he presses it towards the alarms, and I shit you not, it sets off the alarms.
Ooh.
which is really, we still don't know to this date why exactly, because it happened again at another location at some point.
Wait, he did it again?
Or no, I did it that time because I.
Oh, you set off the alarm another time?
Yeah, it's just a different shop. But like, apparently it's something to. I mean, it must be something to do with the frequency of like those things.
That'd be a good.
I don't know whether anyone
you could use that
else had
strategically to like rob the place to like set off the alarm, and then when everyone's like panicked, just run in, grab the cash, and run out.
It would be the most badass robbery ever. You do it with a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah, I know.
What are you in for? Oh yeah, I busted an alarm with this.
Sonicking and entering, I believe it's referred to as.
Yes, it is.
Matt Smith.
Like, like, what was the point of that story? There was gonna be a point to that.
I'm perfectly happy with the point just being that you used a sonic screwdriver to set off an alarm by accident first, your brother, and then you did it again just to see if it would happen again, and it did. I think that's a pretty good point in itself to a story.
I mean, genuinely, I wonder if as I said, if people are still watching in the comments, just let me know. Do any of you have that experience? Because I'm genuinely wondering if it's a more common thing with sonic screwdrivers, or whether it's been like updated since with like future models to like not do that. I'm genuinely wondering.
I don't even. Is this live right now? I haven't even asked. I don't.
No. It's just it's pre-recorded. So
okay. Yeah. And then are you gonna like premiere it?
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I normally do.
Okay, because I thought the one with Quentin was live when I was like watching it. No, so I was posting comments like, "Oh, hopefully Quentin will see, man."
No, it's just a premiere.
Okay.
Which is what I do for podcasts because they're longer form, so it makes sense to sort of have them premiere live because they're so long, and then just sort of, I don't know.
Are you gonna cut this part where we reveal it's not live? Or are you gonna?
Nah, I'm not gonna bother. I mean, people know what they're in for with my podcast. There's a bunch of technical glitches and errors in like the sort of. I mean, this will be the 22nd episode when it. 22nd? No, wait.
I think you said 21st at the beginning.
Yeah, 21st. 21st episode when it comes out. So yeah, I have a lot of these, and almost everyone has one or two things wrong with it. So it's to be expected at this point. But like as I said, it's my break from editing. It's my day off.
Yeah. Well, I've already had a weird, interesting thing, as you know, with the thing on my desk.
Oh yeah, do you want to talk about that briefly?
Should I tell people about the shit on me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just came
visuals to these now. I'm gonna start from like the probably the Nick Briggs one. Actually, putting visuals. Like put it on screen briefly.
Oh yeah, yeah. You want to put a picture of the shit that was okay. Well,
yeah.
Let me tell the story. Don't put it on until I like get to that point in the story for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
All right, so
okay, sure.
I get a notification from you to come do the podcast. And I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I come up to my room where my computer is, and I'm just getting everything ready so that we can start. And I noticed that my microphone plugs into a special Steinberg box which processes it, and then that plugs into my computer. But I noticed I hadn't moved that box for like a really long ass time, so that had just been sitting there on my desk. And sometimes it gets like really hot, so I guess I never realized that if I left it in the same place for too long, it might like melt into my desk or something. But yeah, I left it there, and just now I was trying to like tidy things up a bit, and I tried to move the box, and I realized that I couldn't because it was stuck. And then I ripped it up, and what did I see on my desk? But you can put the picture there now.
Put the picture there.
But
yeah.
that is on my desk, and it won't come off. Like, it won't come off the desk. It's currently covered up with a tissue because it's disgusting. Yeah, that's just there. I don't know how to deal with that.
But yeah, no, I'll put it on screen. Obviously, when I said this is a break from my editing, because some people might think I'm inconsistent, like, it's my break from audio editing, at least. Like, I'll put some visuals on you just to, like, spruce it up a little bit, because I realised when I was looking back on these, they're kind of boring to look at. Obviously, I know that with podcasts, you don't tend to look at something anyway. But I wanted there to be something to look at. And the sort of seeds of that idea comes from a video I did, is the 12th Doctor, specifically his era, but I just called it Is the 12th Doctor Overrated, because, clickbait. And I did that, and it was with Harbo Worms, who's also a Doctor Who video.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of his stuff. His videos get a lot of views.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and obviously we obviously came from completely different viewpoints on that. But obviously with that we had like a vortex and like our names on either side. So that's probably what I'm going to start doing with the podcast.
Yep.
Just to sort of make it look a bit more professional and nice looking.
Oh, am I going to be one of the first ones to have that visual treat?
You will be. I think the Nick Briggs one will be first because I want it to look all fancy for that one because it's Nick Briggs. Because obviously I'm recording this before I record the Nick Briggs one. Obviously people don't know that. I'm recording this one before I record with Nicholas Briggs. So let me know in the comments how that one went. Past
I'm still
time travel.
humbled to know that I'm allowed on between Quentin Reviews and Nick Briggs, which is quite two people that are quite well. I guess I think you could get away with calling both of them famous.
Yeah,
I'm recording it in between them. I'll be going up after them, from what I understand.
Yeah. So as I said, you'll be the 21st. Obviously, I've got the 19th, which is with another Doctor Who podcast video essay, which is Joe Brennan.
Oh no,
I haven't recorded with him yet, but he's a rising channel. He's like consistently gaining subs. Each one of his videos gets like 1K, and for a channel of like 500 subscribers, that's very impressive.
Oh, what's his channel?
Speaking of
I can look it up right now.
Joe Brennan.
Joe, how do you spell his last name?
Brenan.
Brenan. Okay. Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah, his videos get. He doesn't upload very often, but yeah, his videos get pretty good views.
Yeah. So I got him coming on for episode 19 because he makes some great stuff, and then obviously 20 is the big Nick Briggs one. Obviously, I'm recording this before that one comes out, and then obviously 21 is this one. So yeah.
Yay.
That's a little insight.
I'm like kind of far down on the list, but when we get there, I'll wait with bated breath until we get there.
Obviously I'm recording with Nick Briggs this week, so next week I'll probably upload that from at time of recording this, and then probably I'll probably put the Joe Brennan one out earlier in the week because I want the Nick Briggs one to be the 20th because it's a nice round number. It's almost like an anniversary episode in a way. So I'll probably have that later in the following week, and then you'll probably be the week after the Joe Brennan and Nick Briggs ones, if like my scheduling works.
Okay.
which it very well could or could not. We shall see. But you know,
3 weeks worth the wait.
Yeah, it should. I mean, hopefully. I mean, you know, obviously, I'll leave a link to your channel in the description, as I do with every guest. Is there anything in particular, actually, you want to plug?
Other than my channel, I mean, not really.
Is there any
I guess I
particular
released an
video
album
or
like a
projects
bit
that you
ago.
want?
I mean,
Was there?
yeah, I released an album like a bit ago. I guess I can plug
Okay,
that. I don't know.
Yeah. Just send me the links to what you want me to put in the description and I'll do that. Like, obviously, it depends really, because my viewing system is like, my views are really inconsistent. I don't know whether you've like looked at my channel, but sometimes, you know, I'll have like a few that get like 1K or 2K, and then you'll have like one that gets like 700, and then you'll have like one that just does insanely well, like it's 45K. All of a sudden, you're like, okay. So
if you want to see the meaning of inconsistency, like, you look at my channel where it jumps from like 500 to 12K to 2K to 250K to my most recent video is at 139. I just put up a few days ago, but like it's quite the yeah.
But you're getting there. Like, obviously, I would say definitely, because you cover a variety of stuff. You've probably got more longevity than I do.
I don't know,
I mean,
because
that's why I'm
like,
trying to do other things.
most of my people subscribe for Doctor Who, so like.
That's the problem. When you have one video on one particular topic that goes big, and then you're like, well.
Yeah, I actually have videos with more views on my second channel than on my first channel right now. Like, but I just upload I uploaded like a video with one quote from every episode of Community. I don't know if you've seen that show. And
I haven't seen the show.
It's a good show, and like that got like currently it's at 400K, but it's still going up like really fast.
Damn.
Like it might hit 1 million, honestly, which would be really cool.
That would be bad.
But the thing is, it's just a compilation video. Like, I'm not in it at any point, so like that's not the sort of thing that you get nearly as many subscribers for as like a 90-minute video essay split over 2 parts.
But yeah, like, I mean, my most popular video is literally just a terrible edit I made of the 13th Doctor regenerating, which currently sits about 80,000 views. I really want something to topple it, but
yeah. For a long time, my most
kind of shit.
For a long time, my most viewed video was a video that I uploaded in 2011, also on my second channel, which used to be my main channel, which was just a compilation of the Doctor Who opening themes. Because I used to be like absolute diehard Doctor Who fan when I was a kid. Yeah. And it was really like this really low res ass compilation. Like I had this terrible screen recording software, and it was one of the worst. I think it might have been one of the lowest quality compilations on the site. I think I put it up when I was like, I must have been like 11 or like 10 or something when I put it up. But anyways, it got like 100,000 views, which I thought was really cool at the time. But then it got removed. It got removed for copyright, but it was still my most viewed video. And I was just trying to like, can I get something to please dethrone this? Like when I started. When I started making videos again in 2018, was just like when I came back to YouTube and was like, let's do this. I was just trying to get something to top that, and I finally did with the Doctor Who video essay.
Well, with the regeneration video, it started off monetized. I made about 20 quid off of it, and then it just sort of got demonetized for one clip, and I couldn't really remove it because it was too crucial to the video.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I guess I believed in artistic integrity, even though it was shit.
Yeah, same here, dude. It's like, I guess an artistic integrity is a curse because like the Doctor Who videos got claimed, so I never made even a cent off of them. But if they hadn't been, like, I could have legitimately made thousands of dollars because they're long videos, so like there could be a lot of ads. So like I could have, but to cut all the copyright parts would like the videos would seriously suffer, and I didn't want to do that. I just like my ideology was I'll just make another video. If I've done it once, I can do it again. I'll just make another video that gets this many views, and I'll be very careful that it doesn't get copyrighted. And I'm yet to post something to be as popular as that, but like hopefully.
I'm glad that my second most popular video, don't know if you saw it, was the Doctor Who's been stuck in a loop for a decade video. Which is my most popular video essay. Basically details all of like New Who and basically says how it's repeating itself. In terms of, well, a lot of things, and it goes through like the formula that series tend to have on Doctor Who these days, that hasn't been broken to this day, which is quite bizarre and also worrying.
What's the pattern exactly that it sort of stays in?
So it goes like this: Reboot, Fuck, I gotta remember it now. It's Reboot. It's something like Reboot, the Reboot, the Risk, and then the Middle Ground. I called the middle one something else, but it's basically it basically goes the Reboot one that gets you back involved. So that's like your Series 5, your Series 8, your Series 11. You've got the Risk one, which is your Series 9, your Series 6, your Series 12, and then you got your Middle Ground one, which would be Series 10, because that kind of takes elements from both and sort of combines them together. Series 7, which again is kind of like, it gets some of the more happy upbeat stuff from Series 5, but then also has some of the more complex arcs of Series 6. And then you've got obviously the Middle Ground, which might be Series 13. I assume it will be, based on the fact of what we know about it so far, which is admittedly very little, but it seems as though it's going to kind of take the, oh yes, let's bring back more monsters from Series 12, but maybe less of the lore stuff, which would basically be a middle ground between Series 11 and 12.
Well, as we were saying earlier, it looks very possible that's going to happen because he did the Moffat thing of going to he did this huge explosive
I called it the gamble. I remember now. I called it the gamble, not the risk, but same principle.
Well, yeah, that was definitely a gamble season, so like I could definitely see it doing like a Series 10, like sort of more laid back.
I'll send you the link because obviously, but I'll put a thing on screen as well when this comes out to like tell the viewers what it is, because they've probably already seen it. If you watch my videos, chances are most of my audience has probably seen that one because it's my second most popular. Only that regeneration video is more popular than it, which was really nice actually, because it was one of those ones that when you spend ages on a video and you really want it to do well. At first, I didn't think it was gonna do that well because it sort of had that bit where what do you call it? It started off a bit meh, but then obviously because I had Harvo, who was really blowing up at the time, make a brief cameo in it, that gave it a little boost. And then some of my friends shared it, and that gave it a little boost. And overall, it had like one day where it just blew up. So I was really happy with that because it was like my first proper video essay, and like probably like one of the videos I'm most proud of in terms of like the quality of it. Like that one, I'm happy to show people. Like the majority of other ones, it's questionable.
Yeah, I'm like when people go to my channel, I sort of like the thing about my videos. If you look at like the videos, what I'd call the red videos, which are like the commentary ones where I'm playing a character, it's kind of like there's kind of like a bit of a narrative story unfolding between them. But the problem is that I don't want people to like start from the beginning, because the beginning is my oldest videos that I made 2 years ago, and those kind of suck compared to like my newer ones. And like the audio quality is shit, and there's like no lighting, and my face is like super dark, and like I was kind of just ripping off H3 a little bit. To be honest,
makes sense. I mean, with mine, a lot of my very early ones have been deleted because they were literally recorded on a phone.
Yeah.
With a screen recorder. So like, a lot of, like, I started doing YouTube stuff in December 2018. But like the farthest back my channel actually goes is April of 2019. And even then, there's some questionable stuff on there, but that's the cut-off point,
Yeah, to be fair, like, I uploaded some videos in 2018, but I didn't really start like actually trying to like get anywhere until I'd say actually like January this year. It's like when you notice that I barely upload from throughout 2018 and 2019, like just a few things here and there. But starting this year, 2020, is like I was like I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna actually get somewhere. Yeah. And to answer your question that you asked a bit earlier about like have you ever put a lot of work into a video and really wanted it to do like well? As in the wake of the Doctor Who video, I put up another video that I thought would like do really well, hopefully, which was a video about Attaway General, which is this terrible fucking TikTok like show.
All right.
Yeah, and like I thought it hit on some of the same beats that the Doctor Who one did, where I was sort of making fun of this like awful shit, but also like sort of like trying to explain like what makes it bad and give it sort of a more, like I don't want to say educational, because obviously like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but like in like sort of analytical, I'll say, lens, so that's maybe a little bit more interesting to watch than just a video making fun of it. And I was hoping it would do super well. It currently is like 600 views, so it didn't really blow up, unfortunately. the way that I
Well,
hoped it
I
would.
have a bit of a sob story on that note. I released a video recently called Doctor Who Series 13 is filming, because I do like news things on occasion as well.
Is that the one you had to re-upload?
Yeah, but here's the sad part. Like, the original was tracking really well views-wise. Like, it was on track to be, really good in terms of, like, my views. And obviously the silent thing happened, and I had to re-upload it again, and it just didn't pick up the same traction that the first one did. It might eventually get to 1K, which would be fine, because it is just a news video at the end of the day. But it is just a bit demotivating when you put up a video, it's doing really well, and then you have to take it down and put it back up again. It's it kills the momentum, basically.
Well, this still has a lot. This still has more views than the video that I put up a few days ago, which did like really shit. Like sometimes, sometimes my videos do really well, and sometimes they just do like absolutely ass. And like my newest video, which is just like me playing political games, which like that's like the worst. I think that's the worst one of my videos has like ever done.
Yeah.
Like I usually hit at least like 500 within like a week or something. This one, I don't know what happened here. Maybe because I posted on election day and everyone was busy. But like, Jesus Christ.
What is my worst video in terms of? I'm looking that up now. I think it'll probably be one of those ones where I was purely a commentary channel and like everyone left because they subscribed for Doctor Who stuff. Yeah, it would be my hardcore Minecraft, but I'm a noob video. Which is a shame, because I actually think I made a couple of good jokes in there, but I also didn't know how OBS screen capture works, so it kind of...
Oh shit, I just scrolled back, and you actually didn't used to be a Doctor Who channel. Holy shit. I've never actually scrolled back that far.
So basically what happened was, I was a Doctor Who channel, and then I wanted to do something else, so I rebranded it. And then I thought... I realised that didn't work, and then came back to Doctor Who, but then I also occasionally do the other thing under... the current branding, but just keep the same branding.
I realized that as I was scrolling back even further and saw that it was Doctor Who before that. So it's almost like a sandwich with Doctor Who on the top and bottom, and there's like meat in between
other stuff.
And
yeah, I did like a video on the Mario All Stars collection recently, and like that got 200 views, which to be fair, like, fair enough.
Yeah, it's like it's weird when you're at the size of channel that we are, where we're both at about 3K. Where like sometimes we upload videos, and if the algorithm decides to show it to all of our subs, like it'll do really well and get like a few thousand views or better. But then sometimes they just do terribly and they get like less than 300 views.
Yeah, we're in that weird in-between point where some people consider us really big and others because...
Yeah, no, if I like tell my friends that I have 3,000 subscribers, they'll be like, whoa, dude, YouTube famous. But then if I talk to anyone else who like has a YouTube channel, or if I like post about anywhere, people are like, oh, it's nice to talk to someone with such a small channel. I hope one day you'll grow to have a following. And I'm like, okay. It's weird. It's weird how much the perspective's changed based on who you're talking to.
Yeah, because like with me, obviously, I remember when Harbo had 1K, and he's now on 20K. He was smaller than I was, and he's just blown up.
I hate it. Like, I hate it when like there's a channel you really like that starts like blowing up, and you're just like really jealous, but you want to be like nice to them to like
but they're like
to cover it up.
They're great friends to me, so I am sort of low-key jealous. I think he knows that, but at the same time, like, he's such a nice guy that I would never I'd never be salty about it. He deserves it.
There was this channel that like I was familiar with, which only had like a few hundred subscribers, which was smaller than me, which made like pretty decent content. And like I commented on his videos a few times, and I was like, I wish you good luck. And I checked back recently, and he'd been shouted out by this like huge YouTuber, and now he has like tens of thousands of subscribers. And like on the surface, I want to be like happy for him, but like deep below, I'm like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, it always happens.
Yeah.
But I just refreshed my analytics. I've lost so many subs because of that Trump video.
Do you get the thing that I get where every single time you upload a video, like you lose some subs, but then you gain more, and then
you gain it? Yeah, out. It's really
every single time I upload something, I lose like 5 to 10 subscribers instantly, but then I gain them back. But like
it's just like a yeah. My sub count's been like a ping pong table for like the past God knows how long.
I'm gonna pull up the that new video and see if there are any new comments on it, because you basically just uploaded it. Let's look.
Yeah.
In the time we've been doing this, someone commented, "Chibnall approves of your globalist ambitions."
Yeah, I mean, I know that person, but like, I'm not sure whether that's a joke or whether they genuinely believe.
Wait, but
that,
how
like,
is this video globalist? I don't how is this political? I don't get
I
it.
literally just made a video with Trump regenerating. It's not meant to be that
yeah,
deep. I don't
certain
get why
people
are
certain people are incapable of not seeing the world through their political lens, and they'll get so pissed off at something like just referencing the fact that Trump lost the election isn't inherently political at all. It's just like a fact. It's not so like just making a video that references that he's no longer the president. People will still get like butthurt and comment, "Oh, you fucking globalist
really
Zionist,"
and it was like
bitch ass.
And I'm not attacking that person at all. But it's like, it might just be a joke. But like, genuinely, there have been people on that comments that are like, "Ugh, why are you making political?" It's like, dude, it's literally Trump inside the TARDIS regenerating into Biden. It's about one of the most stupidest things I've ever made. Like, it's really not meant to be taken seriously. Like, why are you taking it? And it's like with the as well. I do like trailer edits because like trailer edits, they tend to get quite good views because people think that they're the actual trailer. A bit scummy, admittedly, but you know, it works. So I did a Series 13 teaser trailer type thing, where I sort of like had a song and I made the footage match with the song, and I had some new footage that I sort of made for like Series 13, what I think they might do, and it got like, you know, 1.6k, something like that. And I had a comment on that being like, "Oh, so now you're supporting this tripe? Make up your mind." And it's like, dude, I just made a trailer. It's not that deep. Like, sometimes I just don't want to talk, so I'll just make something dumb. And I think at that point I was having building works done. I still am to a certain extent. And it's just, you know, sometimes you just make something for the hell of it, and like people just take it really seriously, and you're just like, don't. Just, if there's one thing I can get across in this podcast, it's just to don't take anything that I do seriously.
Yeah, I'm gonna say ditto for me on that one. Especially since I'm like playing a character, and my red videos are just like, I'm supposed to be a dumbass in this.
Unless I explicitly say this is a serious subject, do not take it seriously. Is what I'm trying to get across, because like literally that Biden one, I literally made. I'll be honest, I thought, trailer mashups do views, and the election's a hot topic. Combine the two together, and hopefully you get views, theoretically. And, you know, I wanted to do a silly edit, so it was just sort of the culmination of those three things. And it's kind of worked, because it's got like 500 views in 4 hours, which is quite good, for me at least. So it probably will get to 1k, hopefully, along with that Revolution of the Daleks trailer day thing. But anyway, point being, don't take YouTube videos seriously all the time. Unless, like, the person is actively being serious, then just chill, you know? I guess that's my point.
I don't know if this
I had to get that off my chest.
I don't know if this is kind of random, but I was reading the comments for your video, and I noticed this recommended video, which was 7 moments that almost killed Doctor Who. And I was like, do you want to, like, talk about the 7 picks they have? Because I can literally just scrub through the video. And
well, fine.
Because why not, right? It's Doctor Who related. It might be interesting.
Yeah, alright.
Alright, well, they have William Hartnell's departure as the first one here. I mean, I guess that's true.
Yeah, kind of did, because if the transfer hadn't worked, it probably would have died.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Yeah, it was such a weird thing that they actually even thought to do that, because, like... I mean, we think of regeneration as being synonymous with Doctor Who now, but back then, like, some people were just like, yo, what if we just, like, get rid of William Hartnell and replace him with some younger dude and just keep going? He can play literally the same character. We'll just say that, like, he used alien magic to change. And then that became a staple of the show.
That became, like, literally, the canon change became a key part of the show.
Yeah. And the second one they have here is Patrick Troughton's departure. Is that one as accurate?
I mean, I suppose every you could argue that for every generation,
except for Colin Baker's. That his departure, his entrance almost killed Doctor Who, not really his departure. And I think he's a great actor. Like, I think he got absolutely cheated on the scripts.
He just got dealt.
It's more. It's the incarnation, not the actor. That honestly, I think Colin Baker's one of the most Doctor-like actors who's actually been.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a really nice guy.
I don't want to like. I don't want to make a controversial statement here, and I like all the actors that have been hired to play the Doctor, but I think Peter Davison was like maybe a little less of a strong pick than Colin Baker, just actor-wise, but his incarnation makes a lot more sense than whatever the hell they were doing with Colin Baker's incarnation.
No, I agree. What was the next one? But yeah, bottom line is you can kind of make that argument for every single regeneration that happens, pretty much.
I'm just... Okay, the third one they have here is the Sixth Doctor's Tumultuous Time. That's literally what I was just talking about. Okay, well, I mean, that is true. It actually did get cancelled, then, like, uncancelled, right?
Yeah, because it had the 18-month hiatus that Michael Grove did.
I wish they made that the season that never came out, that was supposed to come out before Trial of a Time Lord.
Yeah, because it sounds quite interesting what they actually
there were some cool concepts. I mean, I don't know if it would have been great because it was following one of the worst seasons the show has ever had. But like yeah, I mean, to be honest, when I think about Classic Doctor Who, I mean, I have a sweet spot for the 70s stuff. I cannot. There's some good stuff. There's like some good stuff in the 80s, but I can't say that I like the 80s stuff overall.
I like the early Tom Baker stuff. I will admit, and I know this is controversial, but I've said it on the channel before. Not a big John Pertwee era fan.
Really, I like John Pertwee a lot.
I like the actor and stuff. I just Earth-based is just not my. It's just not my ideal vision of Doctor Who. It's like, oh, Doctor, we're a military and we're going to shoot down the... It's just not...
Well, I actually, personally, just my opinion, this might be because I watched a lot of episodes from that era when I was a kid, but that's one of my favorite eras from Classic Who. I think the third Doctor and the fourth Doctor are like the golden era of Classic Who, and like the ninth and 10th Doctor...
for me, early fourth Doctor is chef's kiss,
Well, I mean, but like John Pertwee's last season, he wasn't Earthbound, right? So his last two seasons, I think, actually. So
I don't know. I'm just not a huge John Pertwee era fan. I think part of it as well is the physical aspect of it, and the fact that like
there was a lot of fighting.
Is very actiony, which I like action, but like at the same time, I've always looked up to the Doctor as an intellectual sort of hero rather than a physical one, so maybe that's part of it as well.
Yep.
Not saying it's bad in any way, but it's like, it's just not my personal vision of what it is. Like, for a lot of people as well, the movie, a lot of people, don't necessarily hate the movie or hate Paul McGann, they just don't think that that's the right vision for the show.
Yeah,
and I think that's the same.
I think that's very fair to say.
John Pertwee's period. Like, I quite like the movie. I'm one of those people. But, it's to each their own, I guess. But yeah, go on.
On the topic of this video, just going through it, I wonder if the end of it's going to be like the newest seasons.
Is this a what culture video?
Yeah, this is Who culture is what it's.
Yeah, their little Who tube spin off.
Oh, speaking of season 13 really quick, I wonder if Chibnall, I was going to say this before, but I wonder if he's going to realize that his timeless child theory completely contradicts the River Song like storyline of her becoming a Time Lord by being conceived in the TARDIS.
Yeah,
like I don't think he realized that before. I don't know if it's been pointed out to him. I know we said season 13 is probably going to be a middle ground season, is how we're describing it. I wonder if he's gonna any of that sort of.
I think he might bring up a couple of things, but by and large, I think he's going to be ignored.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's.
I doubt that he's going to poke attention to the fact that there are a lot of plot holes with what he wrote.
No,
even if
he's
he
not
is
gonna
aware of it.
He's not going to point out his own plot holes.
But anyways,
Moffat didn't. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry. Well, but anyways, getting back into this Who culture video, the next one they have is the 26th season,
which would be
that's the last season of Classic Who, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it was actually canceled, so I guess it did.
They're half right in a way.
It literally kind of did kill Doctor Who, but it wasn't the season itself because people actually liked that season, I believe.
Yeah,
in fact, the thing that's very sad about Classic Doctor Who is, in my opinion, it really went to shit at one point. Like, I think Tom Baker's later seasons and Peter Davison's era is a lot weaker than like Tom Baker's like early stuff. And then Colin Baker's stuff was kind of absolute shit. And also the beginning of Sylvester McCoy's era was pretty damn weak
Sylvester
too.
Was
and then it just started getting good again, and then they canceled it. It's very sad. Like, it just was going into another good era.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's always been sad that it's not really the series itself. It's more so the circumstances around it, basically. In that case.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, what's weird? They have the Eighth Doctor as the next pick, but I mean the show wasn't even on the air at that time, so that doesn't really make
The
sense.
Eighth Doctor didn't. If anything, the Eighth Doctor proved that yes, it could exist outside of being campy sci-fi.
Yeah, that's a weird pick
a lot of
for this list.
A lot of the ideas that the TV movie has, we see in New Who.
Yeah, the TV.
You know,
the thing is, the TV movie feels like the beginning of New Who. A lot of people
It kinda
say
is, in
that.
a way.
I mean, I think it's a bad movie. Don't get me wrong, but like a lot of people say that that's the end of Classic Who, but it's really it's so much more like New Who. Like,
I mean, I've always personally categorized it as Classic Who, but I definitely think it's where the seeds of New Who begin to be sort of born, if that makes sense.
well, I mean,
because you've got things like the romance and the
yeah, the
long time
romance,
rotor
the
and all
sort
that.
of the drama,
And the
like
big console room
instead
with
of
the big
it,
time
yeah,
rotor.
the console room looks very modern. The Doctor is very like young and I don't know, dashing in a modern Who
Handsome
kind of
and
way,
yeah,
and
lots of
like
running around.
the Master kind of being a weird as hell is kind of a modern Who thing too. He used to be more
Yeah.
intimidating before that. And also just it not being like slow paced the way Classic Who was, but this sort of fast paced.
The only
like,
issue is with
in your
the movie,
face.
like the only major issue with the movie, like there are a few issues with the movie, but majorly, like the ending just always felt very rushed.
I
Like,
mean, I think that there are certain aspects of the movie that aren't bad, but I just don't think it works overall. And I think it's a shame because if it had worked, it might have New Who might have started then in the 90s with Paul McGann, and we would have had another decade of it.
The thing about like the movie, I've always loved its visual design. I've just loved
it has
from a
his outfit and the TARDIS are like those are the strong points definitely of the movie.
yeah, like for sure. And I kind of dig the more. I know I ragged on the Series 12 stuff for making the Doctor a god, but the movie manages to be mythical without overemphasizing it in a way. Because I kind of like the almost grandiose feeling that the Time Lords have that's like seals of Rassilon all over the place, and the TARDIS feels very grand and big in scale.
Yeah.
But
I'm
like not
almost
to the extent of what Series 12 did, where it's like, yeah, they're all gods. And the Doctor's at the centre. I mean, I know that was kind of one of the original scripts, was that, if I remember it correctly, the Doctor was going to be the son of this traveller called Barusa, who was like the founder of Gallifrey. And then
But I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Also, the Master is going to be the Doctor's brother originally,
Yeah.
but then Roger Delgado died, and they couldn't do that. Which
I mean, I'm kind of glad they didn't do that.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm glad Roger Delgado died, but like
No, of course
I'm glad that at least one silver lining is it prevented them from doing that idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was a great actor, so it sucks that they lost him before.
Yeah.
Like,
Have we got a next one?
Yeah, the sixth reason is you probably saw this coming. David Tennant leaving, and that it's
true.
weird that it almost got canceled because it's true. It did actually almost get canceled after that, which is very bizarre because the show was like starting to really pick up at that time.
But at the same time, David Tennant had left such an impression.
I know, but like
and it had been such a success that there was a worry that it wouldn't.
it would be like
survive.
it would be like what happened with Tom Baker, where they could never actually like replace him. But
Yeah.
I think with Tom Baker, they were never really able to get a Doctor who had as big of a legacy as that in the classic series. I think Matt Smith, while he's not as big as the 10th Doctor, I think he was big enough that like
It sustained.
it sustained the show. Yeah, and if anything, the show grew in popularity, especially with
I'd agree. I think
Moffat's
the thing about
appealing to
I
the
mean,
States.
I don't know how much you know about like the Wilderness Years and stuff, but they were originally planning on doing a 40th anniversary special that was going to feature the Fourth Doctor as the main Doctor. And what was going to happen was yeah, I think well no the 40th. What was it, the 40th or the 30th? No, it was the 30th. Sorry.
So in 93.
Yeah, so 93.
Anything that
And
would
it was-
replace Dimensions in Time, which is the worst thing
Yeah.
that I've ever
So,
seen in my life.
Well, this was the originally conceived thing before Dimensions in Time. It was called the Dark Dimension. It was basically the Doctor gets pulled out of Logopolis before he's meant to regenerate by some sort of maniacal time person, and that's why 4 is the lead. Apparently,
and that's why the Watcher was there? Was it going to explain the Watcher? Because the Watcher still doesn't make
assumably.
sense to this day.
Assumedly, I don't really. Presumably, I'm not really sure like what the overall story is, but that's the basic gist: is that Fourth Doctor gets taken out before his regeneration. Kind of like 2 in the War Games and 6B and that whole theory.
Or Twice Upon a Time, didn't they kind of?
Oh yeah, Twice Upon
like
a Time as well. Yeah. Kind of like that. So that's why 4 did it. And their reasoning for that, the BBC's reasoning when they were making this, was the 4th Doctor is the one that people associated most with the brand. Which is also kind of why I guess we're getting a lot of 10th Doctor stuff at the moment.
Because he's the one people associate the most with the brand now.
Yeah.
It's weird how short the 10th Doctor's tenure actually was, because the 4th Doctor, to this day, is the longest lasting Doctor, so as well as being one of the best in my opinion. So it's understandable why he's so synonymous with Doctor Who. But the 10th Doctor was only actually there for 3 seasons. And by the way, I really don't like the fact that every single Doctor lasts for 3 seasons right now. It's like,
yeah,
it feels very mechanical when it's always the same length.
I know Patrick Troughton famously said don't do more than 3 years, but in my opinion,
I think 3 is pretty short. In my opinion, I think the Doctor should all be staying for 5 years. Personally,
in modern TV structure, 3 years isn't that long.
Yeah, I mean, you look at most shows. If a show ended after 3 seasons, you consider that a short ass show.
And as well,
or if you look at
60s,
if Bryan Cranston left Breaking Bad after season 3, that'd be considered him leaving weirdly early, or it'd be weird for him to leave
I think
it
as
all,
well,
actually,
there's a lot less of a fear of getting typecast these days as well. I don't see many actors getting typecast. Obviously, David Tennant, he's gone on to do a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
That aren't the Doctor at all. Same with Matt Smith. He's being in that Morbius film. He's doing a bunch of other stuff.
Peter Capaldi's career is also really taking off right now. He's in the Suicide Squad remake that they're doing.
I mean, Peter Capaldi always had a pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I love his career, especially in The Loop. Malcolm Tucker.
Yeah.
Or The Thick of It, I guess I should say. Because
is that the American name?
No, In the Loop is the movie they made, I think, and The Thick of It is the name of the show, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. But no, what were we talking about? I actually can't remember. Yeah, the next thing on the list. Is that it? Or?
There's one more, and it's Jodie. I was correct.
Is it?
Yep.
Is it? I mean, to be fair, I'm glad Who culture has started to have the balls, or what culture in general, has started to have the balls to realise that, people are sort of less keen on the new stuff. I don't think...
I think it's Chibnall's fault, personally.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to really put the blame at her door, necessarily. But I will say, if there was a new Who era that was going to be the death of it...
This would be the one.
So far, it would probably be this one.
I think what's totally possible, and this is not a good case scenario for Doctor Who, but I think it's not super unlikely that what'll happen is that it won't die with Jodie's regeneration, but it won't be able to recapture the popularity it once had, and it will just fizzle out in the era after this, whatever that would be.
I mean, it may well do, or alternatively, it could again see a bit of a resurgence after she leaves.
Okay, if it suddenly became really good when she left, the word would spread of that, and it would probably get popular again.
Yeah, I think the thing is, if say the next era can get RTD levels, not just in terms of quality, but in popularity and in pop culture relevance, I think it would be all right then. If the next era can't go upwards from where we are now, then I think we'll be in trouble. I don't think that this era will be the death of it, but I think the show's longevity, at least on TV, will be very dependent on the next era after this.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think this is enough to kill it. Because the BBC, unlike in the classic series, where especially in the 80s, they were determined to kill it.
They really want.
Nowadays, it's the opposite. It's they want it to survive as much as possible because it's their most popular TV show, especially now that Sherlock is done, or maybe done. I don't know. It might come back, but either way.
And things like Bake Off, they sold to Channel 4. Yeah. Top Gear is basically, it exists. But it's nowhere near where it was before, obviously, because the whole Jeremy Clarkson, he's gone.
So I don't think one era where the ratings are dwindling and no one's enthusiastic, it would be enough to kill it on its own. But if it doesn't go up from here,
as well.
if it doesn't go up, then I think it might be in trouble.
I think where a lot of the argument comes from with it dying is that, well, Peter Capaldi's era was dying as well. So if we have a second era, maybe that would be enough to kill it, which is this
they
one.
can. I mean, the ratings were going down in Capaldi's era, but I don't think they got low enough that you can completely say that it was dying. Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit, to be fair. But I think it started. If you want to count that as dying, I'd make the argument you could go back to season 7 or series 7 and argue that that's where it kind of started dying, because that's the first time that a lot of people were like making fun of it. I think in series 7.
Yeah.
Like especially like Clara. No one liked Clara.
No, but like with series 7 though, it was so culturally relevant because of the 50th anniversary.
That's the thing. It was still culturally relevant. So I wouldn't make the argument that started dying there, or even with Capaldi. I think, even though it's kind of started going down. I think
because series 8 kind of had a lot of buzz around it. I would say series 9 was kind of when things started.
Maybe you could kind of make the claim that series like 9 or 10 was kind of the beginning of it dying, maybe.
Yeah,
but like it was definitely sped up a lot with Chibnall.
But yeah, bottom line, I don't think this era will kill it, but I think if the next era doesn't do better, then we're going to start seeing some issues, I think. But either way, I think Big Finish will carry on strong regardless, because the sales are just too good.
That's what they did last time. They got cancelled. So.
And, you know, they got Big Finish. So I think that Doctor Who will always exist in some form or another. It's just whether it'll be on TV or not will be the ultimate question, really.
Well, if it gets cancelled, it will, as long as humanity doesn't go extinct, one day it'll get rebooted again. It's kind of like an immortal show, to be honest. Like, there's no reason for it to ever end.
No.
Like, it's probably the most boundless TV show that's ever been conceived, I'd say.
Yeah,
because even a show like Star Trek, where they go from place to place and there's no, like, main setting other than the starship, like there's still a finite cast. So like if they reboot the show, it's not the same show, it's a reboot. Or I guess I should differentiate when I say reboot for like Star Trek. I mean it's like literally a new show with new characters, but with Doctor Who, it's when they reboot it, it's just a continuation of the same show. So it's still going. So like the new Who is the same show as classic Who technically.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, because it still has the Doctor, it still has the TARDIS, it still has the Daleks,
Doctor Who is conceived as a show where there are no permanent characters, because the Doctor changes his face and the companions can change forever. There's no permanent setting. Even the TARDIS itself changes, so there's no permanent sets either. Everything can change forever. And
that's what I think is so great about it.
Yeah, it's a super cool idea for a show.
When people say, "Oh, you know, this era has killed Doctor Who for me," I'm like, well, it's one bad era. At the end of the day, I think it's a bit hyperbolic when people say that Doctor Who is dead completely, because like you've still got 50 odd years of stuff that's pretty good.
I mean, I'd argue that it was even. I mean, I think it's pretty bad now. I'd argue it was even worse, like in the Colin Baker era. Even though I really like Colin Baker as an actor, I mean. His episodes.
Thing is, though, I think at least with like the Colin Baker stuff, you had the odd.
Really story. I mean, he had some good episodes in the same way that Jodie has like some good episodes. Like the Two Doctors was okay, and like, but like
I like Vengeance on Varos.
I mean, I really like. But I mean, like with stuff like the Twin Dilemma, or like Time Lash, which is like ugh.
I have a friend who likes Time Lash, so
don't be friends with him anymore.
Too much. I mean, sorry, cynical.
It's weird that they stuck the Twin Dilemma onto the end of Peter Davidson's last season too. Is that the only time?
It's always
no. Weird. Actually, William Hartnell regenerated in the middle of a season, but like seasons were different in the '60s. Like seasons ran almost
because
the entire year, and there wasn't that much of a division between season numbers the way there is now.
Yeah, it's almost like how with soaps in the UK at least.
Yeah, honestly, like, William Hartnell.
EastEnders has been on series 1 ever since it started, and as soon as lockdown happened, because there was a gap, it's now series 2.
That's so weird.
So that's
so weird.
Because there's no break; it's all just one thing.
That reminds me of how when I was a kid, I like when I was just getting Doctor Who, I didn't get that there was a classic series with different seasons as opposed to the series. So I thought that everything leading up to the Ninth Doctor's regeneration was one season. I thought it was all series 1, which I was like, damn, series 1 is so long. And then because of that, I
Imagine watching this
assumed
one soon.
that series 2 and 3 and 4 were the same length. So I thought David Tennant had hundreds of episodes
Yeah.
under his belt.
You must have been a bit disappointed.
I was a bit
when you found out
disappointed
he
when I
had, like-
realized he only had like 40 episodes.
I mean, there's still quite a few. Like, I think with me, I'd really like to see a Doctor that does go on longer. Like,
Yeah,
I always get a bit
David Tennant
sad
should have
when I
stayed
remember
longer,
the
in my
facts.
opinion. I mean, he was originally
I've
going to
al-
stay for season 5. I think he should have personally. Not that I don't like
No,
Matt
I
Smith.
disagree with
I really
that,
like
but,
Matt
like,
Smith.
I feel as though, because Matt Smith was meant to do series 7, where they make Matt Smith darker, because that's where a lot of ideas for 12 come from. I think that would have been great, personally. And I honestly think that Janet Coleman and Matt Smith had better chemistry than with Capaldi. That's just my opinion.
Well,
Maybe part of the
what I
reasoning for
think-
that is that, like, she's not a bitch to Matt. Like, with Capaldi, she, like, slaps her and stuff.
Yeah.
And slaps him, rather, and so
It's
just...
yeah.
It's just a bit weird.
What I would say is, because I love series 5 with Amy and Matt, I would say don't change that. Just maybe push that a year later so that came out in 2011, and maybe 2010 we got one more season with David. And, like, whatever happened with him, I don't care. Just, like, more stuff with the 10th Doctor would make me happy.
Thing
And
is,
then
I
season-
do feel as though it was kind of running its course, that era of the show, though.
Yeah,
to
but
a
that's the
certain extent.
thing. You could have had David, like, also be the start. I understand the argument that, like, he left at the right time, and, like, maybe he did. Maybe it's good that he didn't overstay his welcome.
Thing is,
and
as well,
he left us
he
wanting
sort of
more.
said as well.
I guess that's
that
not a
he
bad thing. It's
didn't
just I'm
wanna
such a
hate-
fan of, like, the 10th Doctor that I'm just disappointed that his era is no longer than any.
But
of the
then
other
again, I'm
ones.
such a fan of the 11th Doctor that the idea of him not being in series.
Oh
5
no!
kind of-
What I would say is that would
Yeah, yeah.
push his era later, so that Matt Smith would have
Yeah, I
stayed
get
longer
what you-
too.
No, it makes
So we'd
sense.
probably be on Peter Capaldi now, and he would would he stay longer? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd say yes too,
mean-
because I'd say Peter Capaldi, like Colin Baker, is one of the best actors that got hired to play the part.
I've
But
always
he,
thought there
like
was
Colin
more
Baker,
to,
got cheated on the writing.
Yeah, I've always thought Peter Capaldi's departure, there was more to it than that. Than just.
I think
I
he got
decided to
fired,
leave.
honestly,
I don't think he was fired, but I do think.
or pressured to step down at least.
Yeah, I think there was some pressure. There was something. It's always.
Well, the thing
not
is,
quite
he
sat.
very much implied that he wanted to stay for a long time, always, because he'd been a
Yeah,
fan of
and
the
he
show
always
since he was a
wants-
kid,
he
and he
always-
kept dropping hints that he wanted to stay for like a Tom Baker length of time. And
And
like,
he also said as well, I'm looking forward to working with Chris, and then like 2 weeks later he says I'm leaving. I think there's something going on there.
but here's the ratings were going down, and
Yeah.
Chris wanted his own thing, and he wanted a female doctor to sort of like bring in all that buzz. So I think I genuinely wouldn't be surprised. I doubt that they sat Peter down and like said, "You're fired," and like a.
No.
I doubt that they did that, but like.
Just do an Alan Sugar thing. Do the
What I
Apprentice,
assume happened is they kind of hinted that they wanted him to step down, and they kind of pressured him to. And like, if he hadn't stepped down, maybe he would have stayed for another season, and then they would have like basically told him, "Okay, you're out." I feel
Yeah.
like, but I heavily doubt that he left of his own like motive.
Yeah, I've always thought there's more going on with that than just I decided to leave. I've
It's
always
just
thought
so weird that a lifelong fan who kept implying that he wanted to stay for a long time, and he didn't have any like other big projects coming up, just suddenly decided that he
And I
didn't-
don't
that he
quite
wanted to
get the
exit.
idea that he was tired, because he's literally in the Suicide Squad as a superhero. So I don't think.
He's not
that's
that
really
old.
it.
He's in his like 50s, right?
Although one thing that is weird though is that David Tennant always said, "Oh, yeah, I don't want to start hating the role if I carry on doing it." Whereas now he's like
Oh, he's 62.
doing audios and games and stuff every year, and you're like, I thought you didn't want to get tired of it.
Yeah,
You know what I
well,
mean?
I
Like-
guess I noticed that a lot with Doctor Who actors actually, where they leave and they're like, I'm kind of sick of it. I think this is the end. Like with Tom Baker too, he kind of for a while he was like, I'm done with Doctor Who, but then he got nostalgic and then he started going back to it.
Thing is, with Tom Baker, there was a big
Christopher
gap. With
Eccleston,
Tennant, with Tennant, it feels like he's not left almost in a way,
Yeah.
because I don't know how much you've been like keeping up with the spin-off media, but it's all Tennant.
I know. I see like maybe the occasional Matt Smith like once in a blue moon,
I
but
don't
it's
even
basically
see any
just
Matt Smith stuff really.
well, yeah, it's
I mean, to
basically.
my eye, and I look for it as well.
Well, it's
Matt
basic.
Smith.
Yeah, it's basically just. Wait, actually, when did the last Matt Smith thing come out? Because I don't follow it super closely, but I was under the impression it was within the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, most of the obviously they can't get Matt Smith back, so they get Jacob Bergman, the impressionist, to do it.
That his impressions are so crazy.
Yeah,
like I can't believe that it's not, and the fact that he can. It's not just Matt Smith. He also does an insanely accurate David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston. It's terrifying. If I close my eyes and just listen to him, I think it's Matt Smith. Like I can't tell that it's not him.
No, I do. And he's my favorite. But I've always found it weird that like he said that I'm getting sick of the role, and then like 3 years later he's doing like thousands of audios and like game tie-ins and all of this other stuff, and it's like
it's like I mentioned with Chris, like sort of also implying that he didn't want anything to do with Doctor Who, and he just recently came back. That was a pretty big deal when he came back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When he did the big finish, because
it was a big
that's
deal,
the first thing he's done even related to Doctor Who since 2005. Which is pretty cool, to be honest. That's just happening
I
now.
agree. I think thing is, obviously I was excited when Chris Eccleston came back because we hadn't seen him in ages. But with Tennant, like it seems like they're really relying on
like
him.
He's not. You can't get rid of him, even though he's a great doctor.
The BBC seem like they're really relying on him because they've got this whole like multi media arc going on with Time Lord Victorious, which is like this whole thing, this whole story that's spanning over comics and games and audios and books, and it's like this massive thing about. And also, I think it's like an alternate timeline where the Doctor embraced its like Time Lord Victorious, I'm gonna do whatever I want with time attitude. But it's like, okay, so we've got this whole multimedia event for characters from 10 years ago. Like, why don't you try developing the things you've got going on now? Just a thought, like. I just, it's just...
because they know that no one wants to see them develop the thing they got going right now. I mean, BBC must know how unpopular this current...
Well, if they didn't, then they wouldn't be pushing the 10th Doctor so much. Like, literally...
I'm almost surprised they haven't fired Chibnall because, again, Chibnall's the problem. It's not even like Jodie. I mean, Jodie's... I'm not going to say she's the best actor to play the part. Like, I think there were better, even female picks to play the Doctor. Like, I'm not against the idea of a female doctor, but at the same time, Jodie is a perfectly capable actor, and I think that she could play a very good doctor if she was written well.
I mean, I haven't really seen her in anything else, so to my eye...
I've seen her in Black Mirror.
I haven't really seen much of the... I haven't really seen proof that she could, but I'd be happily proven wrong if there was a better writer. But my point was...
Also in
with
Broadchurch,
we have
which
like
I haven't seen much of, but I've seen the pilot, which like is surprisingly not bad considering that Chibnall wrote it apparently.
But we have like Children in Need over here, which is like a charity event thing. Then the mascot's like a little bear, and they did Doctor Who Pudsey Bears for this year. Guess who the two Pudsey Bears were? It was the 13th Doctor and the 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
They did a Roblox tie-in a couple of years ago. It was the 13th Doctor and the 10th Doctor.
No, it's the
in the comics.
Weren't there rumors that the 10th
Doctor
was going to come back, like just fully come back as the Doctor at one point?
I honestly think Series 13 it could happen. I'm almost convinced that either that, or that plus the 60th, or just the 60th. Either way, he is coming back. I think sooner.
I mean, he's definitely 100%. The only thing that could stop it is if he dies. Definitely coming back for at least a few crossover episodes.
My problem is that it's starting to feel less and less special when Doctors cross over, because they do it all the time in the audios and the comics, and like obviously we probably
it is
will
still
get
pretty
it in
rare on the show
well.
itself, though.
The show itself, but if you consume all the ancillary, the media outside of that, it is starting to get a bit like.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I can't say that I consume much of that.
I don't, but I just see a lot of it. If that makes sense.
Well,
so I see a lot of the.
I feel like
Doctor 13 Doctor crossovers.
I feel like are those? I think it depends on who you talk to, if that's considered canon or not.
That's like, because obviously they've got a game coming out soon called Edge of Reality that's going to be the 10th Doctor and the 13th.
Of course,
Doctor.
yeah, of course.
They've got 3 different comics where they meet up.
I think that all that really matters at the end of the day is the show, and the last time there's been like a proper crossover was the 50th anniversary. I know that the 12th Doctor and the First Doctor had that thing where Stephen Moffat decided it would be a good idea to make the First Doctor sexist for some reason, and Ugh.
I've always thought that story would work so much better with Matt Smith in it, because it's the two. It's Moffat's finale. So if 12 was going to meet any Doctor, I personally think it would be better if he met, Moffat's first Doctor.
Well, I like
early.
the idea of the first Doctor coming back again, assuming that you don't decide to shit on his legacy by making him sexist for some reason, which I hate.
But I also think, to a certain extent, bringing back the first Doctor kind of undermines
his
the 12th
regeneration?
Doctor's journey a bit. It undermines his regeneration, but also the showrunner, because it's his last one at the end of the day. Moffat's last one was Twice Upon a Time.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And it was about another Doctor from a completely different era in that in that respect.
I think it would have been, I think it would have been cool if they brought back the 11th
See, because
Doctor.
imagine, obviously, End of Time was all about the RTD arcs.
Yeah.
Imagine if randomly he just started talking about, I don't know, what's an arc from the classic show? If he
The
just
Valeyard?
It's randomly just the Valeyard is there, and you're like, and it's just, that's kind of what it's like with Twice Upon a Time. It's like, this doesn't really fit into any of your story arcs at all.
I guess that's kind of true. And speaking of the Valeyard, can I just say they missed the opportunity to bring him back. They went past the 12th incarnation, returning into the 13th, and they missed it. They could have done something, and they just didn't.
They'll probably explain it in a Big Finish audio or something that they could extend it, or so there'll be a reason, because they always come up with a reason.
I'm surprised because
Like,
Moffat
they've come up
referenced
with
the
it.
Valeyard at one point in one episode. I
Yeah.
don't remember when, but I remember that there's a
I
reference.
think they
and I was
just
like,
don't
oh,
wanna
this is Moffat
commit
we're
to
talking
it
about. He
because-
loves bringing back weird stuff, so the Valeyard will be back. But then,
I think they just
Wasn't
don't want
back.
to commit to it because it's kind of a goofy 80s idea.
oh, yeah, no, it
seeing that-
is a weird idea, and it's from a storyline that's quite disliked by everyone.
Yeah.
But
So they
I
probably
think
were
that it
never
would have
actually gonna commit to
been
it.
there could have been some sort of explanation that didn't even have to you didn't even have to actually feature the Valeyard himself. You could have just had something happen that could have explained where he would have come from. Because as it stands, it's one of the many arcs, a bit like the hybrid we were talking about earlier, that doesn't make sense or the Watcher, that to this day doesn't make any sense and hasn't been explained.
No, it just exists.
It's just there.
But I think that'll about do it for this one. I think.
Yeah, no, we've been at it
we've
for a
almost
while.
gone for 2 hours, and I think I actually said at one point we're gonna wrap it up, and then we went on for another half hour.
Did you
That's
say
just
that?
What happens with podcasts? Yeah, I think I did at one point.
I didn't
That's
catch
cool.
it because if I'd caught it, maybe I would have stopped.
because we got a bunch of cool stuff in there.
Oh, yeah, we
that
did.
I didn't even think of getting in. So yeah, I mean, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I
the link
enjoyed
will be in
talking
the
to you. Thanks for
description.
having me.
We'll have to do something again together, I think. I don't know what else.
Yeah, we can. If you
But
want
if
to do
you-
I was talking about
Collab.
the idea of another Doctor Who video. If you want to do a collaboration on that, I'd be down.
Yeah, I mean, I'd happily make, a cameo, or have a speaking bit, half, kind of
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm always reminded of those Nostalgia Critic crossovers whenever I see a YouTube crossover now.
Are you a fan
and
of Nostalgia
obviously-
Critic at all?
I was as a kid.
Yeah,
When I found
me
out about
too.
all
As
of
a
the weird
kid.
stuff, I was like, and as well, their quality has gotten worse and worse progressively.
I
so,
find. I mean, I could do a whole podcast talking about how not funny Nostalgia Critic's videos are
No.
now.
But they used to be great when you were a kid, but now they're just
so
bad.
cringy.
But that's what
Like-
I'm always there's always been a part of me that's always wanted to do those crossover episodes. I've always just loved the idea of crossing over with other people. But yeah, in other words, yeah, I'll be down for that. Is what I'm trying to say.
I don't know. Personally, I hate the Nostalgia Critic style of crossover, where it's just you want to watch him talk about something, and he's just "Hey guys, Big Boo 56 is on this episode,"
yeah. No,
and he's
yeah.
this really unfunny dude who's just there for some reason, and he's he
Yeah,
ruins
I
it.
don't know whether you saw my my Cyberman video essay, but I got someone on called Jack Wolf who's got about 50k. He does some video essays as well.
Yeah.
He's got a Doctor Who series that he started. He's on part 1 of his big sort of video essay series on it. And he did a bit on the Cybermen. I had to cut a little bit because of copyrighted material, but basically he did a little segment on why he loves the Cybermen and where he thinks they've gone wrong, and it was really good. But it wasn't intrusive. It was just, oh hey, by the way, I got Jack Wolf on to say a few words about why he likes the Cybermen, and that
I
was
think
it.
that's a good way.
You know,
to
it
do
was just. It was just a non-intrusive thing that adds to the overall experience of the video, which I think is probably what we would do as well. If we
Yeah.
did that Doctor Who Part 3 thing, we'd probably have me just sort of do a segment
I think
what I think or whatever.
The worst possible form of YouTube collaboration is when you collaborate with a YouTuber who's not only annoying, but they have like an animated avatar that it cuts to when they talk. So it's like you, and then it cuts to their like shitty animated avatar as they.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people who have animated avatars.
Oh no, I'm not shitting just on that in general.
Yeah.
Having an avatar, I'm talking about when it's like a shitty YouTuber who has like a bad avatar that keeps showing up every time they talk.
Yeah. And you're just like, it is quite jarring when you see a live action character.
And then the animated one shows up, but like put into the live action like Looney Tunes back in action, but like without a budget.
I've got a friend, obviously, Channel Pub. He was the creator of the Absorbaloff, and he's got about 50k himself. And obviously, we'll probably do something more, because we've done a couple of things in the future. He was the second guest on this podcast back when he had like 6,000 subscribers. And like, we'll probably do something more in the future, but we both agreed that I would show up in his animated form, if that makes sense. Like, we wouldn't have cut to live because it would just, it looks weird. It just looks wrong. Because
I think it's best to keep it consistent like that.
Yeah, there's like, it gotta be a consistent art style with it. Like, if I collaborated with him, it might be a bit more difficult. But like, I mean, he came on my channel, but we probably just do what we're doing now, which is like a podcast thing that just doesn't have any visuals to it.
Yeah. Except for an image of my fucked up desk at one point, somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere in there, and like a couple of maybe images to correlate with what we're talking about. But yeah, I think that'll probably be
good. Yeah, thanks for having me. Before I go, can I just ask really quickly, that dude who made the Absorbaloff, what's his opinion of having made one of the most infamous episodes of the show indirectly?
He still quite likes it, but like I think he kind of doesn't like being known for just that. Because obviously I know I said that he's the Absorbaloff guy, but that's only because obviously it's a Doctor Who podcast for one, and for two I wanted to make sure you knew what I was on about.
Yeah.
But obviously in terms of that, he likes the episode. He likes the episode, but he I think because of I think he underwent things when he was a kid, like bullying and stuff. So I think he doesn't like being associated with it particularly.
That's fair.
That, and also he's done so much cool stuff since that it's kind of like, yeah, people keep bringing up that I'm the creator of the Absorbaloff.
Yeah, that would be kind of jarring after a while, or grating, I guess, to just have that constantly be what you're associated with.
But no, yeah, that's the bottom line, basically.
Okay,
I hope
thanks
he
for
doesn't
telling
mind
me.
saying that,
I just wanted to squeeze
that's
that
right. But yeah, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to give it a like. It's very discombobulated, but all my podcasts are. Obviously, be sure to subscribe to Verdana and me. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers over here. Trying so fucking hard to get to that point.
You'll get there.
If you could make sure that it happens,
I promise you.
I'd really appreciate it. So if you guys could subscribe and like and all that, I'd be very grateful. Comment down below your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.